If you've ever just felt blessed, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the show where we get you all set for the market, then we trade a little bit with you. We get the opinions of other traders, what they're looking at, how they're trading, interviews, the whole nine yards. We're going to have a good time this week with it being a busy week, and today is a T3 Tuesday. We got the moon man coming back here today, so it should be a good one. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Tuesday edition for August 25th, 2026, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, everybody. I hope that you all had a wonderful rest of your Monday. And we are back for another one. We are just trucking along. And you know what? Every day means we are one day closer to football, which is always a good thing, at least for me. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. Solitary Soldier is first here this morning. Welcome back, Solitary Soldier. It's great to see you, and good morning. Hopefully you are well. Pot G, good afternoon. Let's all push the like button for Ryan. I love that idea. Definitely do that. But also hit the like for the rest of our team here. 13, the producer, all of our great guests, from Tim Melvin to all of the T3 guests. Just help us grow. The like helps us, and it's free, and we really appreciate it. Actually, let me turn this off there. EKS, good morning. Welcome back. Just 3% of the S&P 500 stocks now have dividend yields higher than the 10-year Treasury note. The lowest proportion since May of 2007. EKS, I think it's safe to assume if dividend stocks are a little bit weak or get sold, you could make a case that investors are moving to treasuries instead because there's less risk on that. So that should answer our question if any of those dividend stocks pull in, wouldn't you say? Helene, good morning. Welcome back. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. Francis, good morning. Welcome back. Derek, always great to see you. Good morning and welcome back. Janie, same deal. Good morning. Hope you're well. Robert, hope you are well. Yes, that girl. Good morning and welcome back. Laura in Florida, good morning and welcome back. Barb, always good to see you. Good morning. Welcome back. Peter, likewise. Good morning. Jim, happy Tuesday, and happy Tuesday to you, Jim. Hopefully you are doing well. I know you're looking forward to fantasy football. Whisk, good morning. It's always great to see you, my man. Brett, likewise, good morning. Zach McCracken, good afternoon. Liam, good afternoon. Always good to see our European friends over here. Absolutely fantastic. Neville, good morning. Billy, our human chat scanner, good morning. Joseph says, good morning, Ryan. Shout out to 6 or the guy with numbers in his name. Oh, it's always good to start the morning with a laugh. That would be 13. But that's really good stuff. Producer, thanks for everything that you do. We appreciate it, my man. Locked in and ready to go. Ed, good morning. Bling, bling. That 12-pack was awesome. Ed just getting it done. 12-ounce curls every night. Getting stacked. Bernhard, good morning. Welcome back. Linda, good morning. Welcome back. Ed Rowe, good morning and welcome back. Just passing through is locked in and ready to go. Let's go. Victor, good morning. It's great to see you again as well. Kelly, good morning. KRTS, good morning. We are with you from the heart of Kurdistan. Hey, that might be a first. Welcome. Hopefully all is well in your corner of the world. Castle, good morning. Son, good morning. We Get Together, good morning. Dirkus, good morning. Harlugo, good morning. JJ, good morning. JJ, I owe you and your buddy an email. I have not forgot. I owe you an email. Daniel, good morning. Blessed indeed, Daniel. Indeed. Eric, good morning. Welcome back. Nikhil, good morning. Welcome back. Graf, good morning. Welcome back. Cam, always good to see you. Good morning and welcome back. Richard, good morning. And HP Darkside Hemi, good morning. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, futures bouncing today. We've got green on the screen, and that is a good thing. S&P futures up by 0.44%. The Dow futures up by 0.53%. And the NASDAQ leading the way higher as per usual, plus 0.91%. It is also worth noting that oil down here this morning, oil down 3.48% here today. So if that continues, maybe we'll have a risk on day here today. Also worth mentioning that the Bitcoin futures did trade above 81,000 overnight and this morning, but have pulled back minorly to about a 78,000 handle. Now, let's take a look at some cues from last session, as well as what we have going here today. Get you all set for the Tuesday market day. Consumer staples, utilities, and financial stocks led the gains on Monday, pushing most S&P 500 sectors higher, while energy and information technology shares faced the heaviest losses. U.S. stock futures advanced on Tuesday as the Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ indices rose following Monday's mixed close. Meanwhile, Iran vowed retaliation after U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent expanded sanctions to sever Tehran's economic lifelines, warning that, quote, no one is above the reach of U.S. sanctions, end quote. The escalating geopolitical friction and threats to Gulf energy choke points come as oil prices attempt to stabilize following a steep decline. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.71%, and the 2-year bond was at 4.24%. The CME Group's Fed Watch Tool projections show markets pricing a 42.1% likelihood of the Federal Reserve hiking the current interest rates during its September meeting. Now, we've got several stocks in focus here for you today. First one is going to be Longeveron. The ticker is LGVN, and it dropped 13.62% in pre-market on Tuesday after disclosing a 1-for-10 reverse stock split. The next stock on our list here today is going to be Navitas Semiconductors. The ticker is NVTS. It jumped 6.21% after it signed an agreement to acquire power management firm Claros, which develops vertical power delivery, or VPD, and integrated voltage regulator, or IVR, technology for AI data centers. The next stock on our list is a former show favorite, at least temporarily. It's going to be Gorilla Technology Group, and the ticker is GRRR, or as we call it, GRR. And it plunged 9.72% after missing EPS estimates of 20 cents by 590% for the first 6 months of the year, coming in at a quarterly loss of 58 cents per share. Whew. Its revenue exceeded expectations at $78.4 million in the same period. That was much above the estimated sales of $36.7 million. The next stock on our list is going to be Real Brokerage, and the ticker is REAX, and it slumped 88.96% after announcing a 450 million share repurchase authorization plan. The last stock on our list is going to be Zoom Communications, and the ticker is ZM. It was basically unchanged as analysts expect it to post quarterly earnings of $1.48 per share on revenue of $1.27 billion after the closing bell. All right, let's have a look at the SPY chart. And we've been talking about trading sideways. We have absolutely been sideways. Yesterday on a happy hour, the breakdown was that although technically we closed beneath the 20-day moving average, we were so close and so right on it, frankly, that it actually just kind of felt like a test and hold of that area. And today, with the green arrows that we got here this morning, that feels even more the case. We are trading up here. It looks like this is kind of trading sideways, gently coming back into a support level and then gently curling. Now, what would we need to complete that? You're right. We would need a completion of that curl and perhaps a move up towards that 776.85 level. See if we test that and end up breaking it. Now, it'll be very interesting. NVIDIA's earnings are tomorrow after hours. We'll see if we continue here today. It'll be very interesting to see how much recovery we can get ahead of those NVIDIA earnings. We also have, I think, Best Buy on Thursday. We've got a couple of other reports there on Thursday as well. So we'll see how this week shakes out. But so far, it actually looks pretty good. In fact, I think I have the earnings graphic. Look at the producer just out here getting it done. So we talked about NVIDIA there on Wednesday. It's also worth mentioning that looks like we've got CrowdStrike and CRM there. I guess you could throw Synopsys in there for a big report, or Okta. But on Thursday there, we're going to have Marvell. That was the big one I couldn't place. Marvell, Autodesk, Workday, and Affirmed. Perhaps Ulta gets you going there, or Gap. So we're going to have a lot of consumer-facing names. Dollar General is Thursday morning. Best Buy also Thursday morning there. So lots of earnings here. It'll be very interesting to see what we end up going with or how the market ends up trading after all of that. But that's on deck. That's on deck. This week is going to keep getting busy and keep getting more fun, more stuff for us to do. And I am here for it. Now, let's take a look at some insights from analysts. Then we'll run down some of the news here for today before we get to our T3 guest. I'm sure we'll have time for ticker time today. And as per usual, we will cover the movers for you as well. But for the insights with analysts, we start with our friend Ed Yardeni, veteran market strategist. Ed Yardeni remains exceptionally bullish on the U.S. economy and stock market, maintaining his signature thesis that the country is experiencing a productivity-driven roaring 2020s. Despite near-term volatility from rising treasury yields, trade tensions, and rate debates, Yardeni projected the S&P 500 will hit 8,250 by year-end and reach 10,000 by the end of the decade. Get the hats, get the SPY 10K hats. I want one. Yardeni attributed this momentum to technology and resilient spending rather than mere market speculation. He argues that the market's ongoing rally is fueled by genuine corporate performance, stating that the gains are driven by FEMO, fabulous earnings momentum, rather than simple FOMO, or the fear of missing out. He viewed artificial intelligence and digital innovation as productivity fairy dust that cuts costs and expands profit margins across industries. While acknowledging potential turbulence, such as a sovereign debt pressure and policy shifts, Yardeni saw low odds of a credit-fueled downturn. He noted, quote, "It's credit crunches that are the killers," end quote, for economic expansion. Absent a severe credit event, he expects strong consumer capital and corporate earnings to sustain his long-term bull market. So Yardeni has been, cautiously bullish or bullish. Now it's exceptionally bullish, even in the face of some of the headwinds that we talk about all day. So I don't think that we're yet at like extreme exuberance or anything like that. Mark Petrino does an excellent job of covering the sentiment pretty much on a weekly basis here. The last time we checked in with that, it was basically split. So I don't necessarily think there's a worry about too many people being bullish. I mean, there's a lot of bearishness floating around out there, both on FinTwit, sometimes in here in the morning, and just in general on TV. So I don't think we're necessarily imminent for a big time crash. I think we could always get a correction, can always get a pullback. And frankly, for the long term, that's not bad. But a crash, I'll be honest with you folks, I just don't see it at this time. Now, the big piece of news, obviously we had the Besant injecting liquidity into the market. Well, Stanley Druckenmiller has a pretty big rebuke of Besant's $4 billion treasury buybacks. Quote, "That wasn't liquidity management, it was price management." Billionaire investor Stanley Druckenmiller is sharply criticizing Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent's recent decision to double long-dated bond buybacks, characterizing the move as artificial suppression of yields and urging policymakers to, quote, "let the bond market speak," end quote. On August 19th, the Treasury Department announced it would increase buybacks in the 10 to 30-year sector from $2 billion to at least $4 billion per operation. The announcement came shortly after the 30-year yield reached a 19-year high. Druckenmiller argues in the Wall Street Journal's op-ed that this is a dangerous intervention in a normally functioning market. Quote, "This wasn't liquidity management, it was price management," end quote. Druckenmiller wrote that, noting that trading was orderly, volatility was contained, and the market lacked any genuine dysfunction that would justify such official action. Druckenmiller warns that artificially lowering rates hides the true cost of America's fiscal trajectory. He pointed out that the national debt has crossed $40 trillion, with a deficit running near 6% of GDP at full employment. Calling the long-term Treasury yield the, quote, "only fiscal disciplinarian the U.S. has left," end quote. He went on to stress that every basis point of artificial yield suppression is a subsidy to procrastination. Suppressing rates, he argues, sugarcoats interest cost projections and allows politicians to delay necessary entitlement reforms. And I would say that goes on both sides for sure. Rather than managing yields, Druckenmiller insists the Treasury should return buybacks to small scheduled liquidity operations and focus on addressing the primary deficit. Quote, if the 30-year must trade at 5.5% to clear, that isn't a crisis, that's an invoice, end quote. He concluded by cautioning that governments attempting to defend prices against economic fundamentals inevitably lose that battle. At the last check, the 30-year Treasury bond yielded 5.23%, the 10-year bond was at 4.7%, and the 2-year was at 4.24%. The primary ETF, specifically tracking the long end of the Treasury yield curve, including the 30-year benchmark bond, is the iShares 20-plus year Treasury bond ETF, or TLT, which closed 0.62% higher at 82.56 on Monday. It was down 6.03 year to date, down 0.83 over the last month, and 5.16% over the last year. The S&P 500 index has advanced 11.58% year to date. Similarly, the NASDAQ Composite Index was up 11.81%, and the Dow Jones gained 10.41%. So do you agree with Druckenmiller? Are you worried? Should the market just kind of let price action happen? What do you think's going to happen? Is there doom and gloom out there about all of this? You'll have to let me know. You will have to let me know. All right, next story here. I read this one. Y'all know me. I read this story and I was like, oh, no, that can't happen. That can't happen. Elon Musk's XAI sounds the alarm over a power shutdown. Grok could largely cease to function. Oh, say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. I'm going to have to use Claude. No, I'm just kidding. Elon Musk's XAI warned a federal court that shutting down temporary gas turbines at its Stanton Road plant in South Haven, Mississippi, could cripple Grok and disrupt AI services used by hundreds of millions worldwide. Quote, an abrupt loss of power from Stanton Road would inflict catastrophic harms on defendants and hundreds of millions of users worldwide. Grok would largely cease to function, and other cutting-edge AI services would be significantly disrupted, XAI said in court papers cited in Commercial Appeal Report on Monday. The NAACP and its Mississippi State Conference seek a preliminary injunction under the Clean Air Act against XAI and subsidiary MZX Tech LLC, alleging the companies operated mobile natural gas turbines without required permits and pollution controls. The groups moved to halt the turbines in May, while XAI subsequently added more units. The Justice Department intervened in June and asked the court to dismiss the suit. The Department of Justice said the South Haven power supply supports AI models, quote, critical to the economy and the Department of War, end quote, and argued that shutting it down could hinder military use of AI for national defense. A Defense Department's declaration called Grok's continued availability, quote, a matter of paramount national security, end quote. It said Grok is one of 4 proprietary state-of-the-art models capable of supporting national security applications and one of 3 suitable for mission-critical operations across secret and top-secret classified networks. The filing said Grok supported U.S. military operations during Operation Epic Fury. The environmental fight centers on temporary turbines powering XAI's Colossus 2 data center, with the South Haven plant also expected to support additional planned facilities. The company agreed with the Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality to start removing them as early as August and remove all of them by July of 2027. XAI said it's replacing the temporary fleet with a 1.2 gigawatt permanent plant containing 41 turbines authorized under a Clean Air Act permit granted in March. The company's removal timetable stretches through next summer. The preliminary injunction hearing, originally scheduled for August 24th, was postponed, according to the federal court docket. The case highlights Frontier AI's enormous power demands, while XAI argues that interrupting one major energy source could affect both Grok's consumer service and systems the federal government says support classified military work. So as we have been saying here for a while with the AI stuff, you're not going to be able to put the genie in the bottle, not at all. And it doesn't matter if you're using it for something personal, like creating a trading bot or some type of Trump dice meme rolling thing. or if you're doing actual serious work like national defense. These things aren't going anywhere. And I understand the environmentalists are trying to pick a fight here. It sounds like the plan is to actually create more environmentally friendly turbines and use those. This seems to me like it's just kind of a timelines that really don't jive yet. I would imagine cooler heads prevail here, but you never know. All right, next story here. This is an update on one of the big stories that we've been talking about for some time. NVIDIA manager named a key figure in the alleged B300 GPU smuggling to China. 8 others were indicted in the Taiwanese probe here. 9 individuals, including employees from NVIDIA, ticker NVDA, and Supermicro Computer, ticker SMCI, have been indicted by Taiwanese authorities for illicitly exporting high-end AI servers to mainland China. The prosecutors disclosed the servers in question were graphics processing units known as B300s, which are prohibited from sale to China. 74 servers successfully made their way to China, with 50 sent via Indonesia, 16 delivered directly, and 8 sent first to Japan, then Hong Kong, before reaching mainland China. Another attempt involving 56 servers failed, and the servers remain in Taiwan, and that was reported by PBS NewsHour on Monday. The prosecutors are seeking the maximum 5-year sentences for 4 of the 9 defendants, including an NVIDIA manager identified only by his family name, Zhang. Zhang was the key figure responsible for authorizing the release of B300 GPUs, and in this case, but demonstrated a clearly poor attitude following the offense. That is according to the report. A document from Taiwan's Keelung District Prosecutor's Office states that any sale by NVIDIA of high-end AI server necessitates a thorough review process. The document further mentions that purchases of more than 8 high-end AI servers require company staff to conduct on-site inspections to the clients. This incident is part of a broader context of AI chip smuggling and export restrictions. The U.S. initiated restrictions on NVIDIA's exports of sophisticated chips to China in 2022 and progressively tightened these restrictions. In 2025, the U.S. required license for exports of NVIDIA's H20 chips to China before permitting some sales to recommence later that year. In July, Taiwanese prosecutors detained an NVIDIA employee, widening the investigation into alleged smuggling of AI servers to China after searching his Taipei office and home, citing forgery and breach of trust allegations. He is among 7 people held in the investigation, which stems from U.S. charges alleging that a Supermicro co-founder and others helped route billions of dollars of restricted NVIDIA chips to China. Furthermore, in May, it was reported that Chinese tech firms were paying roughly $1 million each for NVIDIA's B300 servers, almost double the price U.S. buyers paid due to Washington's export curbs, and a fresh crackdown on chip smuggling. Okay. Next story here. Zach, I saw it the first time. I'm still going to run through the news here. Resolve has some news here. They're selected by Google after an evaluation. That's RZLV. This is one that 13 has been on, I believe. Stock is up here. We closed at 243 yesterday. It's printing 270 here. So that's actually going to be one of our movers. But I'm going to keep rolling with the news that I had picked here, Zach. We'll get to that here in a little bit. What time is it? Oh, we got time. We're still good. Next one here. Paul says AI agents could run their own treasuries and chase DeFi yields. We built the financial systems that agents need. Now, I know that these AI agents have really done wonders for coding. Can they do wonders for the financial business? We've talked about perhaps the medical business, maybe the financial business as well. Macro investor Raoul Paul said increasingly autonomous AI agents could evolve into profit-driven economic entities capable of managing capital, making investment decisions, and operating through decentralized finance. On Monday, the macro investor outlined his vision in a post on X, arguing that once AI agents become financially incentivized, they could begin managing their own corporate treasuries. Quote, the moment agents become profit incentivized, they'll end up running their own treasuries, end quote. And that was from Paul directly. He explained that an AI agent operating across multiple layer 1 and layer 2 blockchain networks could accumulate different tokens and eventually need to make asset allocation decisions, including determining which assets to hold and where to earn yield. Pal suggested agents could also delegate financial responsibilities to other AI systems, creating an interconnected network of autonomous financial managers. Quote, a corporation runs a treasury at human speed with meetings and sign-offs, end quote. He added, quote, an AI corporation will run one widely differently, end quote. Real Vision CEO envisioned an autonomous corporate ecosystem operating at machine speed around the clock with agents all the way down, end quote. He argued that DeFi's complexity has discouraged many human users, but that limitation may matter less to machines. Quote, none of that matters to an agent, end quote. And Pal said that, noting that agents could automate the process of moving capital and chasing yield across protocols. Paul described the development as, quote, the entire autonomous stack forming, end quote, and arguing that much of it could inevitably happen in DeFi. We built the financial system agents need a decade before they showed up, end quote. Earlier, OpenAI added new safeguards after an AI model attempted to bypass security controls and access protected resources, highlighting the challenges of monitoring increasingly autonomous systems. Anthropic separately found that AI use was shifting towards autonomous complex tasks, with more than 1/3 of workers expecting AI to handle most of their work within a year. Despite automation concerns, heavier AI users remained more optimistic about AI's impact on productivity and careers. So we'll see which way this goes. We'll see what industry is shaken up next and what that means for all of us. I'm sure that there's going to be ways that we can trade this. And by the way, Zach, I haven't forgot about you. 277 on RZLV as that continues to pop towards the highs here in the pre-market. How many of you were thinking about getting a Cybertruck? Well, you better hurry because the price is going to be up by more than 7%, even with the sluggish sales. I'm not sure why you'd want something that looks like a dumpster, but that's just me. Actually, the people that drive these say that they're absolutely awesome, except for the one guy who tried to go into boat mode and drive it through a river, and then it got stuck and sunk, and silliness. Tesla, ticker TSLA, has raised the prices for its Cybertruck all-electric pickup truck in the United States by up to $5,000 for some trim levels in the lineup. The EV giant hiked prices of the Cybertruck's dual-motor all-wheel drive trim level to $74,990, according to the company's website, cited by influencer Sawyer Merritt, from $69,990. That illustrates a 7.1% increase. The mid-premium all-wheel drive trim was hiked 6.2% from $84,999 to $79,999. However, the range-topping Cyberbeast trim remains the same as before at $100,000. Notably, the price difference between the entry-level dual-motor all-wheel drive trim and the range-topping trim has come down roughly $25,000. It remains unclear why Tesla made changes to prices at this moment. The EV giant had launched the entry-level trim earlier this year at $59,900 with a 325-mile range, but a reduced towing capacity of 7,500 pounds. However, the price changes may not have done much by the way of increasing sales, as the EV giant had recorded that 7,133 Cybertrucks had been registered in the United States through May of 2026. I'm going to take a pause here because I like that. Cyber yuck. I haven't heard that one before, but that's pretty funny. In June, the billionaire had touted the Cybertruck getting the automaker's actually smart summon feature via a future update, saying that the truck could navigate a parking lot and drive itself to the owner using the feature. Analysts from investment bank JP Morgan Chase, ticker JPM, following a meeting with Tesla management, released an investor note saying that the company was holding back the Model Y robotaxi ramp-up in favor of the Cybercab, while also touting future models based on Cybercab. However, investor Ross Gerber of Gerber Kawasaki remains skeptical of the claims, questioning the full self-driving system and saying his suspicions that the HW4 AI4 chips would not be able to offer unsupervised full self-driving were following the note. which also said that the full self-driving V15 promised improvements, but will require more compute. All right. Apparently the kitty wants to join me here for this news story. How about that? All right. So I think this is funny. Cyberyuck. To me, that's funny. Isn't SpaceX buying a bunch of the Cybertrucks? I don't know. Is that confirmed? Have they said that for sure? I'm not sure that is 100% or where that, if that's even reflected in the numbers here, to be quite honest with you. But look, I don't understand the appeal, but that's just me. I'm a pretty opinionated car guy as it is, so I'm used to that. All right. Last news story here before we get to our guest. Hopefully, producer, maybe do a wellness check here. Last contract here is going to be Boeing wins a major F-15 contract with $131 million ceiling. We'll go ahead and roll through this here real quick. I know some of you folks trade Boeing. The Boeing company, ticker BA, their stock gained during Tuesday's pre-market session. Meanwhile, broader market sentiment has improved ahead of the opening bell, with the NASDAQ S&P gaining. The stock has pulled back. The stock being Boeing has pulled back from its late summer high. Investors are now watching whether Boeing can revive its longer-term uptrend as momentum weakens. Boeing shares have fallen 7.23% during the past 12 months. As a result, investors want to see whether recent trend improvements can produce lasting gains. And indeed, we've traded Boeing before, but we want to see some lasting gains that with some continuation. Separately, Boeing has received a contract with a ceiling of $131.23 billion to support U.S. military's F-15 fighter jet program. The indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contract covers aircraft production, systems integration, modernization, upgrades and retrofits, the U.S. Department, and that was all said and concluded by the U.S. Department of Defense on Monday. It also includes sustainment work and the development of military-run depot maintenance capabilities. The $131.23 billion figure represents the contract's maximum potential value, and it does not guarantee that Boeing will receive orders for the full amount. The Air Force obligated only $343,740 in fiscal 2026 research, development, and testing evaluation funds when it was issued the award. Future revenue will depend on the individual orders placed under the contract. Now, Boeing shares remain below two important moving averages. The stock is 6.1% below its 20-day simple moving average of 226.01 and is also 3.3% below its 200-day simple moving average of 219.58. Therefore, the 220 to 226 range could act as resistance. Rebounds may struggle until Boeing moves above that zone. Momentum has also weakened. The moving average convergence divergence indicator sits below its signal line while its histogram remains negative. This pattern suggests buying pressure is fading. However, longer-term signals remain constructive. The 20-day simple moving average is still above the 50-day simple moving average. Boeing also formed a golden cross in June when its 50-day simple moving average moved above the 200-day simple moving average. Still, the stock formed a death cross in April, and together these signals show that Boeing has experienced a volatile trend this year. Key resistance stands at 237.50, while investors should watch 204 as a nearby support. You could probably also throw the round 200 number in there for support. All right, that is our news here for today. Quick check in on the market. We are still holding green. S&P's up by 0.38%, Dow's up by 0.46%, and the NASDAQ pulling back the most, but still up the most, higher by 0.8 plus 0.8%. All right, it is a T3 Tuesday. Let's bring on our T3 guest, Charlie Moon. Charlie, good morning, my man. Good to see you again.
Good morning, Ryan. Thanks for having me again.
I will have you anytime. Look, you figured out all of the hacks. Like, just show up with a dope-ass Cubs hat, and you know everything is going to go well for you. I can't believe we dropped 2 of 3 to the Mariners, by the way, but we came back with a shutout yesterday, so feeling pretty good about that. Yeah,
I figure I'm breaking some rules wearing the hat, but you know,
no,
it is
we make our own rules around here, buddy, and you're absolutely killing it. But let's get back to the market here. Look, the big thing that everybody is waiting for here this week is NVIDIA earnings. Now, I know we've talked a lot about stocks, AI, how you trade, all of that, the whole 9 yards. Let me ask you here, just flat out, do you trade earnings prints at all, or do you kind of wait for that to kind of get past, maybe trade the lead up to it? How are you managing the NVIDIA earnings print? And frankly, if there are other stocks that you're looking at based on this print, I want to know about that too.
Yeah, earnings is always a gamble, right?
Sure.
Numbers could be great, guidance could be great, stock could go down. There's a lot of different variables.
And in fact, we've seen that with NVIDIA a few times.
Yeah, 100%. And, it is very notable this year, especially around AI build outs, whether it was the hyperscalers, TSM, Intel, they were great examples, AMD, where they all had very robust numbers, but they ended up going down. And the key, I guess, word or words was CapEx. That was really where the Wall Street kind of reacted very negatively because of the additional expenditures. It'll be interesting to see how the market reacts to NVIDIA. I believe the last 4 earnings, NVIDIA has gone down. I believe 5 out of the last 6, NVIDIA has gone down. Yep. We know that we know that their guidance is going to be really good. You could say it's been pseudo priced in. It's probably why NVIDIA reacted the way it did yesterday, where it broke down pretty aggressively all the way down to the 50 SMA. I don't necessarily try and pick a direction, quite honestly. I look for plays where there's an opportunity of volatility. So really, I like to approach out of the money strangles. The option market tells you what the projected move is. And if the chart supplements that move where there's a potential breakout in one direction or the other, that's when it becomes attractive. So a great example was Palantir. I talked about Palantir as a strangle. The strangle ended up paying 4x in return the following day because there was the breakout potential to the upside, which I really loved. If it broke down, it could have gotten really, really ugly and swung back down to the 52-week lows. And so NVIDIA is built somewhat similar in terms of structure. I think NVIDIA right now is being priced in for a $11 to $12 move. And so theoretically, when we look at it from that perspective, based on where it is, that could put NVIDIA around 219, which would in turn, in my opinion, take it above resistance and push it towards 225. If it breaks down, that pushes them right into the 200-day moving average, or on the downside, maybe as low as 190 if it loses that 200-day moving average. So, I would probably play this from a strangle perspective on this week's expiration. I would be probably looking at the 225s, 225s, maybe the 200s. That would put us right in the range of around, $350, maybe almost pushing $400 of risk. In turn, if it works out, these will probably pay out around $800. So it's a 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio in that kind of overnight, gratification type of play. The worst case scenario with any strangle is that you just don't get the price movement. So, you would expect some sort of AI play, even something that doesn't move as crazy as NVIDIA, to still react pretty violently off of earnings. You just never know which direction it's going to be.
Yeah, no question there. And I like that approach there. I believe NVIDIA is pricing in a 5.5% move. That jives with the numbers that you just gave. And you were highlighting exactly what I was looking at here. It's about 7.5% down to that 200. And I think, Brett here from our chat says NVIDIA seems like it's primed for a sell-off regardless of the report. Charlie, you were already kind of highlighting that. I was looking at the earnings history here. They have surprised to the upside every single quarter since the May quarter of 2023. That was the last time that they did not surprise to the upside. So, we're working on like a 3-year streak here. I would expect them to get a good number. Question is, how is it going to trade? And Charlie, I think you outlined a lot of the good spots to kind of watch here. I do find it odd. Well, maybe not odd. Maybe this is what Mr. Market likes to do. We're basically right at this key inflection point ahead of these earnings. We'll see if NVIDIA kind of stays a little bit range bound here today. Folks, for the first time ever, step inside Charlie Moon's complete trading universe and explore all 4 premier services in one free 5-day open house course. Charlie, you should probably talk about this a little bit. QR codes on the screen for anyone that's interested in this, but first time ever, what can they expect out of this?
Pretty much everything. I essentially want to teach people to be very well-rounded traders. So my background when I first started trading was as a prop trader, but it was as a day trader. I have one room that focuses primarily on momentum stocks. So we're certainly trading a lot of tech, a lot of gold lately as well. But we like to day trade, some swing trades in that room. I have my AI room, which is purely swing trading. Last night I held my mentorship class. There was great attendance. It just tells me how many people actually truly want to learn for themselves and do better for themselves. And that's really what I thrive on. There's obviously people that just want signals and signal services. And I truly understand that as well. And I certainly provide that. But more importantly, I feel it's really important to teach people, especially in this environment, especially with how, how rapid things have kind of changed over the last few years, let alone this year alone, on how to adapt in the market environments. Because, some market environments, most notably earlier this year, it was great to swing trade. You definitely wanted to hold overnight. But, in like recent months, it's been really, really difficult. And a lot of people just sometimes don't want to be holding anything. They want to be flat by the end of the day. But, obviously day trading is a bit of a skill set, and it's certainly, something that takes a little bit of time and guidance to develop. So, for me, I want to make traders, very well-rounded, very adaptable. I think that's going to be extremely important. I think technical analysis is extremely important now. I believe that is the way to trade. The good old days of being a stock picker is just kind of gone. Yeah. And my last service, quite honestly, it's the zero DTE program where we take trades at the end of Thursday and look for the immediate gratification play. On Friday last week, we had Circle, Tesla, gold to the upside. So those, did pretty darn well. We were able to flip, 70-cent contracts, and I believe, not Circle, Coin. I believe Coin traded up to $14 a contract. Tesla traded up to 11. GLD traded up around $5.5, $6. So, it's taking really cheap risk and hopefully kind of getting that, rubbing the genie moment and hitting a pretty nice winner. They don't always work out, but when they do, they tend to be really, really good.
Yeah, home runs there. So, okay, awesome. Really good stuff, folks. Be sure to sign up for that if that is interesting to you. Charlie, we appreciate it. All right, so we talked about NVIDIA. What else is on your radar here? What do you think is going to be a really good play here?
Yeah,
what are you looking at today?
Yeah, two names that really stand out to me is Amazon and Google. Amazon, number one. This is a really important moment because both Amazon and Google are really kind of set up for a similar reaction. Amazon has kind of pulled back off of earnings. They've been holding this like 258-ish level, which was essentially kind of a double top range where it broke out from on earnings. They're getting kind of stuck at these faster moving averages, the 20 SMA, 10 EMA. So I'm actually looking for a breakout above 263.5 today. Okay. I think that if there's good propellant, which the market is providing, the jump could be as high as around 280. I love the swing trading opportunity in this one, whether it's an all-day hold or just an overnight hold. I certainly don't want to really be holding much on NVIDIA earnings, although I will state I actually think NVIDIA is going to surprise and go up this time. Yeah, I don't know why. I just kind of have that feeling, but I'm probably going to be wrong because I feel that way. But Google is very similar. They're stuck at the 50 SMA. That breakout is going to be right around 352.5. And what's really notable is that they both have on the daily chart what's known as profit pockets, where there's no technical indicator interference. There's no major swing high. There's just room to run up until the next resistance level. So in the instance of Google, that break above 252.5, I believe the upside is somewhere conservatively around 370, probably in the maximum around 380. With Amazon, I believe that break of That 263 half level is probably going to run straight up to right around 280. Now, these aren't home run type of plays, but like I said, as traders and as humans, we tend to like and want immediate gratification. And these are two plays that we haven't really seen in terms of a hyperscaler breakout really get overly active in the last few weeks. They've been more depressive. But we've seen, Microsoft performing relatively well, even though they've pulled just a hair back off of their highs on that recent breakout. We've seen Meta wake up. The aforementioned Tesla was a pretty active mover last week. So, I just think that once they get past this technical interference, what's really important is that they get above these levels, and stay above these levels. And if they do, like I said, it really opens up wide, and there's real potential for that breakout, and that's really important.
Okay. Really good stuff there. Good rundown there. Look, there's a couple of stocks that are being asked about here in the chat. I kind of wanted to get your opinion on. I can't remember if you and I have discussed Bloom Energy before. This stock trades extremely well, and this is like recently pulled back to the 200 again. Yesterday it struggled to get through the 20-day moving average. Mm-hmm. Today with the gap up, perhaps we test that and move higher here. We actually have a gap fill above. And then another possible resistance here at about 244, 245. Do you like any of these energy names, but in particular Bloom Energy at all?
Yeah, 100%. Like, several factors play a role right now with Bloom Energy. Number one, for those that don't know about situational awareness, they got margin called because they're using Forex margin. Citadel basically bought their margin book. Citadel has pretty much unwinded everything. I think last week they reported that they already unwinded 80% of the portfolio that they bought. Bloom Energy, NBIS, there are a few other names. And then yesterday it came out that Nancy Pelosi bought into Bloom and Intel. So, it was a great combination. Bloom was at the 200 SMA, used that as the trampoline support. Yep. The Pelosi news helped. The kind of depressive nature of Bloom was believed that it was Ken Griffin and Citadel unwinding their position, which, by the way, I believe they bought it from Leopold at an incredible discounted rate, and I think they killed it. I think they made over 300% in less than a month on these positions. So, I like the breakout. I think 218 is the price to watch. Okay. I'm with you. We see that 20 SMA, 10 EMA interference. The 21 EMA is there. I do see that gap fill. I believe that if it does eventually break past that gap fill, which is 232, we're going to see some interference at the 50 SMA where it's rejected right around 240, 241. But yeah, I mean, the boost of Pelosi being involved is obviously something that retail traders are just naturally drawn to. With the markets being up today, we could see Bloom Energy, if it breaks resistance, become one of those growth stock leaders. And the story around this stock is incredible. I mean,
yeah, it sure is.
I remember when I used to swing around with the micro caps. This is one of the stocks that I used to trade along with AAOI when they were single digits. And here they are knocking on the door of 220 this morning. It's a great momentum play. They've got some great and really big partnerships with a lot of, the hyperscalers with, I believe NVIDIA is one of their collaborative partners as well. So, there's a lot of value, retentive value, and certainly there's a lot of potential. So, our evaluation's a bit out of control, perhaps, but, being a retail favorite, being a momentum favorite, I just don't really see it like crashing back to earth, back to like $20, $30. I just believe it's a great opportunity to buy on pullbacks.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Rick says, I'm in and out of BE when the setups are right. Let me tell you, it's been great for trading. Even my bot has done pretty well with BE. It was a big winner yesterday on that Pelosi news. That was cool. All right, Charlie, that was actually a great segue to one of the other things I was going to ask you. I can't remember if I've ever asked you about the broader market and what you think is going to happen. So get ready. We've been talking a lot. There's a lot of talk about, maybe the market is due for a correction. Even notable talking heads like Tom Lee said he thinks we're going to close above 8,000 on the S&P cash, but wouldn't be surprised if before we do that, we actually saw even close to a 10% pullback. Let me ask you, with everything that you see out there, do you see the broader market making a substantial move down? I'm not going to make you define anything like a crash or anything, specific like that. But do you see a substantial move down before 2026 is finished?
Yeah, it's a good question because we have to say, well, at this point, what's going to bring the markets down? We've seen the turmoil in the Middle East. We've seen the rising costs of crude, which obviously is starting to retrace now. I believe that the one important factor here is when the Fed, which was projected at one point to do 2 rate hikes. I believe the projection is still somewhere near the range. I think it's a 50% chance for a second rate hike by December. I think the September meeting, the FOMC meeting, is going to be the biggest of the year. Okay. The reason why is because if they hike rates in September, I'm sure the market's going to act negative, but more than anything, it brings into the picture that the possibility of a second rate hike will be now on the table. And I think the market would react very negative to the idea of the second rate hike. I believe that if they keep rates at the September meeting, normally you hear that and it's generally going to be a pretty flat reaction. I actually think the market is going to jump on that news. And it's really notable because we have, Fed Wars speaking from Jackson Hole this week. Yep. This is something that could be that kind of, that preview of what the Fed stance may be. So that kind of put a decent amount of importance on the PCE data, which of course just happens to be the same day or just prior to NVIDIA reporting earnings, which is going to be after the close tomorrow. And this build out in anticipation is kind of why the market was a little like flaccid yesterday, a little back and forth. But, we have seen the turmoil in the markets. We have seen what's happened in the Middle East, and we've had a lot of negative news in some form or fashion around AI, around the hyperscalers expenditures, with the concern about inflation. And here we are, really not that far off of the highs. Just last week, we were knocking on the door and thinking we may break out at the all-time highs in the Qs. The SPY was retracing back from making new highs. So I just need to see how the market's going to react to the FOMC. I believe that if they hike rates, that could be kind of that final nail in the coffin that releases just kind of, the floodgates, and we see the hard sell-off at that point. But if the Fed doesn't make that move and remain neutral, I actually think that we could potentially make a real run after that point and see maybe at all-time highs in the Qs. It just doesn't seem fathomable, but here we are just fighting to just hold our upper range here. It's pretty remarkable how resilient the market has been.
Yeah, it really has. And I'll kind of just add to that a little bit. My gut tells me that there's no way that they hike right before. Oh, excuse me. There's no way that they hike right before the midterms. To me, yeah. I just feel like pause, wait for the midterms to do their thing, then you can talk about your potential hike. And it sounds to me, just listening to you there, if that's the course that we go, that the market is going to kind of pop on that. And maybe that does, in fact, take Q. We've been looking at the Q's chart here. We have a trend line that connects some of our highs. We've really struggled to snap this. And on the flip side, we have not really broken down yet. So maybe this is one of the catalysts that actually brings us above that trend line and allows us to challenge those new highs. That would be great. That would be absolutely great. Okay. Charlie, this has been fantastic so far. Folks, again, for the first time ever, step inside Charlie Moon's complete trading universe and explore all 4 premier services in one free 5-day open house. Charlie, is there anything else that you want to cover? I know we've got a lot of retail earnings or customer-facing earnings like Best Buy and Dollar General and things like that. Is there anything else that you're kind of looking at that you feel good about this week?
Honestly, the AI play is going to be really important because there's a lot of different stocks that are kind of getting gummed up at these faster moving averages, or in some instances, the 50 SMA that are trying to break free. The one really notable name that I'm really interested in is Marvell. MRVL, is going to be reporting earnings on Thursday. They've been fighting to break out from this 50 SMA, and that's pretty key. It doesn't really matter where they are because I believe their projected move for the week is pretty significant. I believe they're going to be knocking on the door around $20 plus or minus for earnings. And this is important because MRVL at this point can now be potentially in a breakout position where it can run as high as $300. Or if it reacts very negative, come down as far as $170. So, MRVL is one of those names that sneakily has been a strong performer. A lot of people call them just an AI component play, but I really kind of tie them more into the optics sector. And I believe that, if they have really robust earnings, they have really strong breakout potential. They've made some significant jumps from earnings. I believe their last earnings, wasn't that big of a move, but shortly after, I believe a deal was announced and they absolutely exploded from like the low 220s all the way up to 320 or 321 in like 2 days from that point. So we know that the stock has it in them. And that's really what I'm looking for. They've been kind of slowly grinding up. They've been trying to break free from this 50 SMA only to get pulled back. And I believe if they get the catalyst, this is a stock that by the end of the week could be just knocking on the door at 300. So this is certainly, for me, the play to watch. I certainly believe that NVIDIA is the most important name this earnings season, to be very frank. And like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm not really sure why. I just believe that there's just been this kind of overly negative expectation that NVIDIA is going to go down. And usually when the market gets really one-sided, that's when it loves to just kind of, surprise and go the other way. So I feel like if NVIDIA does do well, it'll boost all the AI and AI components. And I believe that really sets up for MRVL. And if MRVL just crushes it and just, blasts the roof off, that they should be knocking on 300 and perhaps even higher.
Yeah, and really quick, just to kind of go back to what you were outlining there, Wednesday, May 27th, this is when its last earnings was. It came in a little bit, but as you mentioned, 3 days later, this thing absolute rocket ship that stalled out at 321. So this went from 200 to 321 in the course of like 5 trading sessions. Just an unbelievable move, maybe 7 trading sessions. Just huge, really good stuff. All right, folks, he is Charlie Moon. His Twitter handle is The Disciple of Trend. I threw that in the chat. Be sure to follow Charlie. We really appreciate all of your insights here. Good luck with the open house and good luck in the market. Can't wait to catch up with you next time. Go Cubbies.
Yeah, Ryan, you're the man. Go Cubs.
All right. Charlie Moon, everybody. Really good stuff from T3. Again, nice breakdown there. I love the call there on Marvell. I think we're probably guilty of focusing a little too much on NVIDIA. And as Charlie outlined there, NVIDIA's move projected to be about 5.5%. We'll see if it trades up or down, but Marvell, this might be the actual mover there. And even if you don't get it on the earnings day or overnight from when that earnings print is, you may get one shortly after that. So really good stuff, really good mention. I know this group loves Marvell. I know this group absolutely loves Marvell. So we'll see what that kind of earnings print gives us and what else we can get rolling there. Okay. Good stuff. How are we doing on time? It is 9 o'clock. It is 9 o'clock. So you know what that means, right? That means it is pre-market pulse time, and which means it's time for 6, as he was called by one of our viewers. of course, I mean 13. Let's bring him on. All right, 13. Let me just go ahead and explain first. First of all, good morning. It's great to see you. I can't wait to go through stocks here. I had a comment this morning here that made me chuckle. I'll see if I can find it real quick, and then I'll read it to you here. Where are you? Good morning, Ryan, and shout out to Six, or the guy with numbers in his name. So shout out to you. Thanks for joining us here today. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Yeah, okay. So today I'm 6. I haven't really looked at any of the movers this morning. I see that we do have a few 100% plus runners. I see Amex is up there, but lower than it was yesterday. I don't know if you ended up talking about that one.
I've been waiting for you. So you know what? Why don't we just start with that? Let me go ahead and fix my movers tool to stop looking at only big caps here, and we'll go through some of these smaller ones. Let's first start with AMIX. For those of us who were just for those of us who join us on happy hour, yesterday we got a call that AMIX started to rip on a piece of news. I'll go ahead and cover that for you here in a sec. Shout out to Ed, who was trading for beer money and dinner money apparently in the after hours, but was able to at least lock that in. Now, AMIX has come back in today, but don't rule this out yet. We've seen this before with some of these movers. Sometimes even if they do pull back, they move the next day. I can't help it. Just dealing with 13 so much, I'm actually going to draw the trend line through the pre-market high here. We'll see what happens. Now, anyway, the news on this one that we got yesterday, this is Monday after hours. Automix Medical shares are trading higher ahead of the Patent and Trademark Office decision to grant the company U.S. patent number 12,714,780. Now, the reason I gave you the number is because 13 does great research. And yesterday he's like, wasn't there another patent like not long ago? Wasn't this rehash news? And he was indeed correct. Now, what we actually did is we went through that and we noticed that the patent numbers are actually different. So these are two different patents, at least by number, but they seem to kind of be related here. So now we also had that news there about, and here, this is the titled Systems and Methods for Regulating Organ and or tumor growth rates, function, and development. Now, 13, I want to have you talk a little bit about that, but they also entered into a $4.9 million warrant incumbent priced at premium to market under NASDAQ rules. So they issue new Series E1 and E2 warrants for 535,913 shares, each at $625 per share in exchange for immediate cash exercise of those existing warrants. So there was a lot there. I'm sorry about that. Pick and choose what you think here, and then also let us know what you think on the chart.
Well, that warrant inducement was not part of what we were looking at yesterday. So that we actually had the after hours close, and then they announced that. So that's why we're likely lower here this morning. So maybe we don't get this run that we did last time. And last time was on August 4th, where this thing, you just have to look at a daily chart and you'll see what happened. Maybe we do get some interesting price action that takes us back up towards where we were yesterday. But if it goes gangbusters, I think yesterday I was looking at 25 as being a potential area it could run to, but there's no guarantee we get up there. This warrant inducement seems to have suppressed that price action a bit because this is going to be share dilution. But we'll see what ends up happening. On the way up here, 9 would be, as we turn around, 9 would be the next area that has resistance. So we'll see if we get through that, and we can look at the next levels afterwards, which seem to be every dollar, after the other. So this is certainly one to keep on your radar. It looks like it's turning around, but $9, that's the next breakout spot.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and I completely am with you on 10 being the breakout spot after that 9 as well. So Amex, this was one that we said probably you should check on this in the morning. And we actually were saying, hey, the news is coming out. That's great. Maybe let it settle. And then sure enough, we got the warrant news. So hopefully some folks listen to that. But I'm not necessarily keen on saying that this is going to be done for the day, even with that dilution event that we just talked about. I think that this is going to be in play here today, so we'll see how it goes. The other one that I briefly wanted to mention was JEM. We mentioned this last night on Happy Hour. JEM has a number of things that have kind of been working on it. This spiked in the after hours, retraced the entire move, then spiked again and went higher. Found resistance at $7 here in this pre-market. You have the dreaded VWAP brick wall that the thing cannot get through yet today. Also, just as kind of a reminder on some of the things that fit in here on JEM. Yep, this stock has under a 5 million market cap. Yep, this stock has a micro float, under 600,000 in the float. And yep, as pointed out by 13 and WIS here, this is also an HRT financial special. So we know that this stock can go crazy. Be careful with it, but this is why it's up on no news other than that, or other than those things. No fresh piece of news here on this one. Did you have anything on JEM? I can't remember if you had any spots for this last night.
Oh, you wanted to look at levels? I could do that, but this thing is just junk, so I don't care about it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Why can't I pull this up? Okay. So let's see what we got here. Oh, well, VWAP. That's the big story here, I think. That's been keeping the price action from going higher pretty much all morning. So if we manage to start closing on the other side of that on this 5-minute chart, then there could be another attempt to go back up towards that 7 area that we were at last night. That's and maybe even more, but that's what I would be waiting for here. If there's going to be a trade in this, it needs to get back on the other side of VWAP.
Okay. B-Rob, nobody cares about Clove. Nothing is happening here. We're tired of the spamming. So do me a favor, enjoy your forever nap. Thanks a lot. Now, getting back to what we were doing here on the movers chart here today. So we'll see on GEM. I don't like this either a whole lot. I think that we've seen how this thing trades before. Likes to spike, likes to come back in. Just be careful if you end up trading this. Remember, the HRT thing, that can make some of these stocks move, but kind of shady. So just be careful, and be careful if you hold overnight. Okay.
Got something interesting going on here. Remember me talking about Resolve AI?
Yes.
They just got some news.
Yep. And Zach could barely wait. He could barely contain himself when we were in the A block here. Resolve did have some news here. I'm just going to, this is another good call by you. I'll tell you what the news is, and you can just go ahead and break this down for us. Google selects Resolve AI's proprietary distributed database platform.
Yeah. But this isn't the reason why I like this. This is based off of the way they guided on their last earnings. They only report 2 times a year. So when they were guiding that their revenue was going to be substantially higher, I thought to myself, well, why isn't this thing going to, isn't trading better? So I just started accumulating some, and as maybe this next earnings report does, what their guidance said, and they and then the valuation will make more sense. But it seems like right now they could be undervalued if their guidance is going to be the case, like if they do make what they were saying they would. I don't have that figure in front of me, but let's see. Yeah, they reiterated fiscal year revenue of 360 million. That's a massive increase over the last year. So I just thought that was interesting. I started picking up shares of this, and it's doing okay. Maybe this has a good day as well. We can look at this a little bit more in depth later, but I don't know how much this is going to run on that Google news. Could go on for a bit.
Yeah, I think 330 here, just kind of looking at the daily chart, 330 kind of stands out for me as a possible break of structure and a move higher here. We'll see if we end up getting that on Resolve. But this was timely. Good mention here. Izzy wants to know if it's a buy. Okay, we'll move on then.
Yeah,
sounds good.
I can't recommend that.
Can't recommend that. Okay, we're going to roll through some of the other stocks here. First one here is Willamette Valley Vineyards, a Series A redeemable preferred stock. The ticker is WVVIP. And what on earth is going on with this thing? Closed yesterday at 265, printed a high here of nearly 28. It is currently holding higher here by 14.5 points, up 553%. And you guessed it, folks, up on no news. No news at all on this thing. You have to tell me what you think here. No short interest on this thing. Float 1.4 million. Willamette Valley Vineyards produces and sells premium, super premium, and ultra premium wines. If you couldn't guess from vineyards in the title, the grapes are harvested, fermented, and made into wine at the company's Turner Winery. And it is in, let's see, where was this? This is Griffin, also under the Griffin Creek. Oh gosh, where is this? Just tell me where it is. It's got to be in Napa Valley, right? Oh, for heaven's sakes. I can't believe they're not telling me where this thing is. I should have looked this up. I'm so sorry, guys. What do you got on this one, 13? Bail me out. It's in Oregon, for heaven's sakes. That's how long it took for you to tell me it's in Oregon. Oregon-based winery that makes a whole bunch of really good wine, up 500+% on no news. What you got for me?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is how are they surviving the fires out there? I don't know where this is exactly located relative to fires, but if they're avoiding that catastrophe, that could, be a potential reason. I'm just kind of speculating here on why it's moving. Don't have any news, like you said, but we are getting some support from the VWAP. So as long as that holds up, which I have at 1547. As long as that holds up, there could be a turnaround here. You also have the 65 EMA coming up to meet that. So that gives you a little bit extra support. But losing that, I would say that takes us down towards 12, possibly even to the 200 EMA, which is at 928. So I would just be keeping an eye on that VWAP as we approach the open. If we hold up there, then there could be a turnaround. But it seems to still be struggling with getting back over 20.
Okay, not a whole lot here. This is what it is. Be careful with something that's up 500+%. All right, next here is going to be Axie, and this is an interesting one because we used to trade this on an Apple or a lawsuit they had against Apple that they ended up winning. Remember that? So this thing's actually been in the news before and is legitimate. This is, in fact, a Chinese name, however. Stock is up 247%. It is up from 45 cents. So don't get too excited here, even though it looks like it's really kind of mooning here today. The last piece of news I have was from Thursday. So once again, another one of these stocks, no fresh news, 6 million market cap, 3.36 million shares in the float. Short interest here, 8.42%. So nothing really like crazy outstanding here. 13. I'm sorry that I keep asking you if you have anything on stocks that don't have any news. I'm really not trying to like set you up for failure or anything, but what do you think of Axie?
Just looking at, because I haven't even looked at these yet, so I don't really know. But there's that ADS ratio change that's coming up. That's supposed to be September 8th. I don't know if that has any relevance to this move here or not. Floats 3.3 million and the market cap 6. So it's close to those parameters. I don't know if that's the case either. I have no idea why this is running. It's probably just getting picked out of a basket and the decision was made, hey, let's just pump this thing. I really have no idea why it's going. But let's just look and see what the technicals are telling us. Right now, it's saying that, like the last one we were looking at, VWAP is holding the price in the pre-market here. 65 EMA coming up to meet that as well. This one doesn't look like it's on the verge of losing the VWAP. It's trying to get back above the 165 level, 160, 165 level. That appears to have been the resistance since earlier this morning, about maybe an hour or two ago. So if we get past that 165 level, then maybe we see 200 or $2. It looks like based on the MACD turning around and starting to cross over, it appears that this is trying to recover. So maybe.
All right,
maybe this one, if it can get past 165.
We'll see. Boy, I'm glad you're a seer here with the charts. So hopefully we'll see, because there's no news for us to go on anything. All right.
Thanks, Veggie Girl. I just had no idea where that was relative. So it's not in the fire area.
There we go. Appreciate it. West of that area. Haven't heard of the vineyard, however. Okay.
So probably more of a coastal region, kind of like Napa Valley. Right?
Okay, next here is going to be DAIC. This was a runner here from yesterday. It looks like it's getting a little action here in the pre-market. I'd watch the volume on this one. This one also had no fresh news, I don't think. Let me just confirm that here real quick, because I too didn't go through these before we started. Okay, or it's just not going to load and make me look like a complete fool. So I guess we'll try the short interest here. 3.96% of the float is shorted on this one. There was nothing. Yeah, there was no insider or anything
This
here.
checks some boxes.
What's that?
This checks some boxes. The float's under $1 million. Yeah, float's under $1 million. Market cap is under 5. So, and this thing was on a circuit breaker yesterday as well. This thing was pulsing up. So what are we getting? Like a continuation of that? Let me look and see what this chart is saying here. We're above that. So we're above the 50-day SMA, which doesn't seem like we've been above there since April earlier this year. And as soon as we did go above that and close above it, like we did yesterday, we opened higher and we started trading back down. So maybe we get a repeat of what happened in April, where this thing just kind of popped over the 50-day SMA, closed over it that same day, and then the very next day we opened and we started leaning on that level of that moving average for support, and went on to lose it a few days later. So that's certainly possible. I don't know what the other catalyst is that keeps it up here, or what have you, but that's what I would be anticipating if there's no news or anything driving this higher. They also have earnings in 14 days, so
okay. All right. Was there anything else on the list? Oh, you said that you didn't really have time to go through them. T3 Defense, this spiked in the pre-market here as well. This is after getting absolutely blasted yesterday. Stock was down 46.58% yesterday. 13, I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on here, but my news feed is not loading. Let me make a report here. I'll have you go over the chart. You can pick any one of the, oh, there it is. There, it just took me a sec. Sorry about that. So, okay, no fresh news on this one. Stock is up 40% after falling 46% yesterday. Do you make anything of this?
On the daily chart, you have the 50-day SMA that it just plummeted through yesterday, and now we're back up in that area. I would assume to try and recapture it. Don't know if that's going to happen or not. Just kind of looking at the daily chart and seeing what's already happened. So recapture, an immediate recapture and close over that 50 could be bullish. You lose these moving averages, these lagging moving averages, and recapture them in short order. That can tend to be bullish. So let's see if that's what we end up getting here. If we can recapture and close over the 50-day SMA, we may get this name to turn around here and trade higher over time. Let's look at this in a smaller time frame. So this one trying to hold above what appears to be a gap overnight. Yesterday, in the after hours, we closed down around in the 11 handle, and then we gapped up to the 14 handle, and we've been holding up there. So that would be the area of support I would want to see hold up. So that's going to be $14 support level that, if breaks, we'll probably end up filling the gap down to about, what is this, like 1190, 12. So,
okay. All right. 13, is there anything else that you want to cover here? Anything you want to take a look at? I don't really see much else on the movers list here. We kind of covered the stuff that was really moving. BTCT is moving again from yesterday. That might be kind of rearing up here. But you want to pick one? I'll go ahead and throw it up, and I'll step away for just a sec.
Well, we can pull up NVIDIA. I had heard, or not heard, but I had read that there was an indication that options were anticipating a move of about 5.5% in either direction. So it seems like there's a little bit of uncertainty going on with where this ultimately goes, because I know there's some folks, I think Jay Rice is one of them, but there's some folks that believe that this is going to go higher after their earnings. But there's some folks like myself that are looking at the seasonality over the past few years and thinking, well, this might be something that ends up repeating. But we did have run-ups into those last earnings, those last several earnings. So being that we're in a decline going into those earnings, I'm starting to think that maybe there is more to what Jay Rice is saying than what I was thinking earlier. Usually when you see a decline into earnings, that has a tendency to set up a turnaround and a rally. Not always, but usually it does. So I'm thinking that if we do continue to get that weakness into the earnings, there could be a pop. Now, do we go on to recapture the all-time highs? That I don't know. We could see a pop, find some resistance, and then come back in some more. There are, a lot of geopolitical tensions rising. We do have, midterms. We have Trump-Xi meeting, and we also have the expiration of the trade truce in November. So there could be some things that it could go up a little bit, but I don't know that we're going to see new all-time highs just yet. But I'm not trying to discount that we will. I think it's still possible, but I was leaning on the seasonality for where this could take us. But in that seasonality, we've had run-ups into those prints. So now that we're seeing a decline into this print, maybe Jay was on to something about this climbing up.
Yep, I tend to
down straight days. Yep.
And here's what I love about this. We just had Charlie Moon on, and he was saying, he feels like this time, because NVIDIA's put up a good number and then it's traded down, this time probably puts up a good number. I'm in the same camp, but maybe it trades up this time. And I agree with you and Jay that seeing this kind of roll over ahead of the print as opposed to running into the print should be much more beneficial to that. So we'll see.
Yeah, Lion, it's maybe we could, but so far the options aren't indicating that just yet. And it's just more than anything, it seems like there's a lot more uncertainty than certainty. So we'll see what ends up happening. There's have a plan for either direction.
All right. And yeah, guys, is anyone else besides Teximian seeing a whole bunch of lag or buffering? Try refreshing if that's the case, but I have no reports from the producer or anyone else that the stream is.
I hadn't noticed it when I was watching earlier.
Yeah, you hadn't noticed it earlier. And then I think we also have a poll up. Producer, did you put a poll up here this morning? I'm pretty sure that you did. He's going to let me know here. No lag here. Okay. Yes. So just put the poll up. I should have just looked at this. Folks, please vote in our poll here today. Just as a reminder, your votes get turned into articles, and we really appreciate that. We actually really enjoy writing those articles that are done from or have data from the actual people that watch. So really awesome stuff. I'm going to go vote in it myself here. The question here is, NVIDIA is the most valuable company in the world. Which of the following best describes you? You currently own it, you trade it, but you don't own it, and you've never owned it outside of ETFs. I've traded it, but don't currently own it. So that's where we're at. So please vote in our poll. Okay, 13. And aside from that, what else would you like to take a look at here today, if anything?
It's whatever the chat wants. I mean, I could speak on
a man of the people.
I could speak on SpaceX just a little bit because they're currently pulling out Booster 21 to go take that to the pad for their static test fire. So we should be. They'll move it today, but they're not going to test fire until maybe tomorrow or the next day. And it's just getting pretty close to this launch window that they're supposed to have. So it's starting to look a little bit more like this weekend if there's no delays. But that's all I've got right now. They're just moving the booster over to the launch pad for testing.
Okay, sounds good. All right, a couple more suggestions here. IREN, well, this is another one that we've been kind of looking at recently here. This actually had a recent move higher, couldn't get any continuation. Now, it is up 2% here today. It's got earnings on Thursday after the close, and so far it's holding the 20-day here. The other thing here about IREN, this stock can move pretty good. We've seen this before. It's actually been a great trade for us, but it's got a bunch of moving averages sitting right above it. You have you're sitting on the 20. You have your 50-day just about $1.50. Yeah, $2.30 above where we're at now. 50-day moving average providing some significant resistance to allowing the stock to go. And above that, we've got the 200 at 46.69 and the 100 at 47.45. So this will be a very interesting. If IREN can clear this area and can probably get above 49, perhaps we can actually make a run back towards the trend line, which I currently have in the high 60s, depending on when we get up there. But I'm not sure what to expect from earnings here. I don't have I don't necessarily have like a line or like an edge on this stock here. Me personally, I'd be kind of waiting for the earnings, but this might be a great one to trade on Friday after the market is digesting some of those earnings. Brandon says, if IREN can break the 40 range, it will fly. And honestly, Brandon, this is kind of what I'm seeing too. When you say the 40 range, I think the term we use for that is 40 handle, but we're the 40s. If this thing can break out of the 40s, it can really go. I completely concur. And that would be something to watch here if we can do that from the earnings. 13, do you have anything here on the IREN chart that stands out to you?
Well, to his point, $50 does look like a pretty big area of support and resistance. So let's just draw a horizontal line right at 50, and then you can look at a daily chart or a weekly chart or any larger time frame, and you can see the all the different times where this $50 level provided resistance, a breakout, support, and so to his point, if we do continue to get this support at the 20-day SMA, that takes us up through the 50 and the 200, then maybe we'll encounter that resistance or a breakout at 50. So I think $50 is a very, very big level that's been used for both resistance and support. Yeah. So if we do get that upward move, I would certainly be keep an eye on that spot there.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate, this thing could turn around pretty much at any point in the 40s. So that break of 50 would be really, really helpful for it. The other stock that was requested here is Marvell. We've talked a lot about Marvell. We actually asked Charlie about that. So if you're interested in what Charlie thinks about Marvell, he had a really, really great point here on Marvell with their earnings. Be sure to rewind and check out his segment from before you got here. One of the things that he was saying is after the earnings last time, it moved down and it wasn't really all that crazy. And then just several sessions later, thing charged over 100 points to the upside. So don't forget that can happen here too. This thing is basically straddling its 50-day moving average. I know it punched above it. It kind of punched beneath it. Now it looks like it basically looks like it's trying to clear this area out. They report earnings on Thursday after the market closes. And this should be on deck here for Friday for sure. 13, do you have any levels that stand out to you on Marvell?
Yeah, this stock price has been riding the 20-week SMA pretty much the majority of the year, ever since we popped above it in March. Went on, just moved away from it, got very extended away from it, and then we came back in and looked at it as support. We did close underneath it 1 week, but the very next week we were right back above it. So the 20-week SMA, pretty important looking moving average to me. Now, if we continue to get that support and it takes us up on earnings to newer highs, more recent highs, I think 280 looks like you've got some resistance there. 275, 280 looks like the resistance level. By the
way, 13, your volume point of control up there at 283, right in that exact same area with a very thick volume shelf. I think you're onto something.
Excellent. So I would say that if earnings is good and we do go on a run, I'd be keeping an eye on that area around 280. That seems to be where the resistance could kick in. If you get some great volume, the volume just continues to be fabulous. It could just plow right through all those sellers. But I think that's where your largest concentration of sellers are when they were all, look at the volume back in June and the end of May. There's a lot of people trapped up here. So I expect them to be wanting to get out.
Okay. All right. Pick one of these two, 13, Honeywell or ARM. Tyler has a lot of good suggestions. I don't think we're going to have time to cover all of them. So pick one of those. We'll take a look at it. And really quick, Daniel, with the whole news and Bloom being bought by Nancy Pelosi, that to me seems like risk on. Well, again, we just talked to Charlie about that too. That was my best trade of the day yesterday was on Bloom. So I'm flat now, but I'm still going to be watching that. 13, ARM or Honeywell?
Honeywell.
Let's do it.
Honeywell looks like this is coming down to in search of some support. You have an RSI that's about to indicate some selling. It's not there yet, but it's getting pretty close. The most oversold this thing has been was, back in October. This thing was, down underneath the 25, or actually it went down to a 20 RSI. So that's, this is not anywhere near the most oversold it can be. But when we get under 30, it tends to start to see some buyers begin to come in. So we'll see if that ends up happening. You also have the 200-week SMA at 209.66. So as we do come down to that level, there's going to be that support, and there was support from that. Well, not necessarily support. We did lose that at one point and then recapture it in the following weeks. Another time in October, actually, we dropped beneath it and then recaptured it the following week. So it seems like if we do not get that support from the 200-week SMA, we could turn around in the next week or two. But I think I'd be keeping an eye on near 200 for where the price could go in search of support, because it doesn't look like that 200 weeks going to necessarily do it. It might initially, but based on the way it's not held up in the past, over the past year, I'd say that there is a good chance that we could get a drop beneath it and then potentially recover.
Okay. We're about to open here. PKM says, what's gold going to do? Well, that depends on the market. So let's take a look here. Let's see what Trump has to say about it. We'll roll the dice here. All right. Tomorrow morning, we're going to tax the hell out of Mexico. We have all of the cards, and that is +1 for market sentiment. That to me seems like gold would probably trade higher on that. Okay, all jokes aside, we're open, going back to the main workspace. Let's find some stuff to trade here. Let's go.
All right, looks like AOI is down out of the gate. That one was trying to recover in the pre-market, but now it's going lower. DFNS is trying to push through its 65 EMA on the way to the VWAP. GEM isn't really shining yet.
I like that. I like that.
AIXI is started. It looks like it's getting a seller trying to walk this down, walk it down. Excuse me.
You're okay.
They just deleted him, so maybe this starts to go now. WVVIP, this thing just dropped and is now underneath the VWAP. Then Amex tried to pop over the 65 EMA, not able to get over that just yet.
Okay. Looking around here, Dick's Sporting Goods. This is down on earnings. Ooh, so this is one of our consumer-facing names. This thing rocked 20%.
Let's see here. Ooh. So that's a big. So they just lost the 200-week SMA. This company has been riding this moving average up for years. And so I would say this loss of that moving average is pretty significant. I haven't even looked at their earnings report. Double misses, cut their sales growth outlook.
Trey says, went to buy some hockey supplies from Canada last week, and it was a 50% tariff at that point. Yikes. Hey, what do sticks run nowadays? I used to use some of those graphite sticks back when they first came out when I played. They were expensive back then.
AIXI is halted to the upside.
Hey, upside halt. Your timestamp on said halt, 9/31/12. 9/31/12, looking at a 9/36/12 possible resumption time.
What's going on here?
Oh, really? Apple straight up out of the gate. Palantir straight up out of the gate. Bitcoin's still a little bit muted.
Getting a upside move here in Fermi. It's not very big, but it's pop out of the gate here. GEM now getting a little bit more volume, but be careful. This has got a bit of a spread to it.
Oh my God, hockey sticks are $400 a twig now for the good ones. Oh, heavens to Betsy, that's so expensive. That is so expensive. NVIDIA calls early on. Let me see. These are not, actually, excuse me. These are the ones, these are upside calls that incorporate the earnings print. And actually, that might be part of a spread. Now that I look at that, that might be part of a spread. Those would be the 212.50 by 220 spread on that, if that is in fact. Let me see if I can get some more information from my broker on whether or not that transaction was a spread. Give me a sec here.
Jay, it could be related to, sporting equipment. Not necessarily hockey sticks, but just sporting equipment in general. I feel like there's been fewer enthusiasm by younger generations to take up a sport.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. The 215. So that 215.5 call, that was not part of a spread. So those might be independent transactions. Interesting. Very, very interesting. And I'll tell you something, 13, it really saddens me that kids are less likely to take up a sport now. That is something that kind of drove me through my childhood. It's still important to me to this day. That makes me sad.
I'm just giving my own opinion. I'm not saying that that's the case.
Okay.
I just if I feel like that's what's happening.
Gotcha.
Just see, I just see across everything I read, I see just a little less enthusiasm for sports among younger people than I have in the past. So
yeah,
it may just be it's just limited to me.
They take up esports, says Cam. LOL.
Yeah.
And
right.
Jay Hart's mentioning Netflix here. Netflix, interestingly enough, trading straight up out of the gate here. And this actually has yesterday's intraday high and a pre-market high as a possible resistance area. That is going to be in your 80 handle. So there you go. Chris,
news was that they're opening.
Hold on. Another clown needs a forever nap. So let me go ahead and take care of that. Also, B Hart or J Harts. Sorry for booting you. We have a whole bunch of these Clove spammers that are showing up and trying to ruin the stream on a daily basis. So we're just booting them. I wasn't sure if you were part of that. Sorry about that, but don't pump Clove. This is not the morning to do that. Okay. There are lots of lazy parents that don't want to deal with sports. That too makes me sad. Lion mentioning Lily. Sorry, 13. I'll stop yapping here for a sec. I did want to check in on Lily. That is up out of the gate here today. We'll see if Lily can really kind of get back to 1,300.
All right.
SPY pulled out of the open and bounced a little bit. It is battling with its VWAP right now.
BM&R having a nice open.
That must mean Ethereum is also doing all right.
Yeah,
BM&R, watch 25. Shout out to Corey, by the way, from our community, who's been all over BM&R from the beginning.
Yep. And if you draw a trend line through the highs of yesterday's regular session and to this morning's pre-market, that kind of gives you a little bit of a breakout spot just above $25 even. Or
what were the
resistance.
two spots again? I'm sorry for the trend line.
Just the two that you got the highs from the regular session and the pre-market.
So right here is what. Yep, gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. So AMEX trying to push up some more now. And did we get an unhalt? Yes, we did. We got an unhalt of. Now it's halted again. AIXI that popped and dropped.
That unhalted at the exact time that we had thought, and it was open for a mere 21 seconds before it is rehalted again. Let's take a look at the chart, see where we're halted. This is to the downside, so this is still just trading sideways. SPY could not get through its VWAP, by the way, so that battle, at least that first battle here, is failed. That's still kind of sideways at the moment. S&P futures are doing an all right job sitting above its VWAP. You guys should look at how private equity moved into youth sports. So there was talk yesterday about, and it was on the back of this new rule for paying student athletes where folks that don't make an NFL team can still go back and then play college football and hopefully sign an NIL deal. It's only a matter of time before private equity moves into maybe owning some of these teams, maybe spinning them off from the school themselves and then running the sports. And I wouldn't be surprised if they moved into some of the youth feeder leagues either, Trey. I don't know how I feel about that, to be quite honest with you. I really don't. It rubs me the wrong way, but I admit that I don't feel like I know enough about it at the moment. And I just don't like it. It feels off to me.
It may have something to do with the ultimate tokenization of player athletes. I know.
I like I said, it rubs me the wrong way. That's kind of where I'm at right now on that whole thing. All right, what do we got going on? Looks like the SPY might be trying to trade higher here. We'll see if it gets through the VWAP. There's still a battle going on. I do have a bull trend and higher highs in the SPY, and I have a bull trend and a little bit stretched there in the Qs. Not making higher highs yet, though. Does still seem like risk on here this morning. Palantir to the highs. Netflix, by the way, Jay Hart, Netflix new highs now, 81.22 as that continues to trade up. Tesla bounced off 350 as well. Jay Rice says private equity ruins everything. They killed the pet business and the dental business.
WVVIP is not really performing well at all. This thing just gave up a lot. It's losing multiple support levels. The next one is looking like down around 7. Is there? I don't know about this one.
WYYVP, right? WYYV.
No, that's WVVIP.
VVIP. I can't tell. Thank you, 13.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Netflix was on a rip out of the gate. There was some news about how they were. Well, it was from yesterday, but it was opening its app to other streamers. I don't know if we had a run yesterday like we were having this morning, but that's the last piece of news I see.
Bob, I appreciate what you did here. You're mentioning a penny stock CBAT, but you're also mentioning the fact that it had a big piece of news attached to it. Stock is 86 cents and it is a China name. Let's take a look at the actual news feed itself here. CBAC Energy Technology announces a $96 million battery cell order from an unnamed Indian manufacturer. Delivery is expected next year. Take that with a grain of salt. Stock's down 1% on that. It is a penny stock in China. And by the way, what's the market cap on this thing? 76 million and a float of 78 million. So it's not one of those micro market cap, micro float things, but nonetheless, that's what's going on with CBAT. Swivel was someone else was asking about. This is Swivel Holdings. This is trading higher after the company announced a $13 million strategic investment round. This company is headquartered in the United Arab Emirates. It is battling with the VWAP thus far, though. And AAOI can't figure out which direction this thing wants to go, at least not yet. Here's AAOI. Still about flat.
Yeah. It's a lot of whipping around, but nothing that I've really picked out that seems, interesting enough for a trade. And every time I look at something that's, going, or either got a position or it's in my arm too late. I don't want to chase any of these.
I know this is the only reason I'm going to mention this right now is because we were just kind of talking about this in terms of the private equity and sports. Pete Thamel's tweeting, per sources, the Big Ten is set to pass a rule today that doesn't allow players to return from the NFL and play for a Big Ten school. Anyone that is declared for the NFL draft and did not withdraw, appeared on the NFL roster, or signed a contract in a pro league cannot be on a Big Ten roster. So this is interesting. The only reason I'm bringing that up is because it does appear that the Big Ten might be leading from the front there, and that might affect some of these other schools and how they look at it. Interesting note. Okay. What else we got moving on? SMCX and FUTU. SMCX, that's going to be one of the super micro levered ETFs, right? Indeed it is. This is a 2x long SMCI. This is moving higher here. Remember, we did have some news about those chip smugglers from NVIDIA and SMCI.
Yeah, so this will, SMCI will probably do great until the next scandal. That's how it's been with them. RZLV, we still climbing?
Putting it on screen, RZLV.
Well, we still haven't gotten to the pre-market high, but we got pretty close. There's a big seller in the way at $3. Let's see if we can take him out.
Joe says Defiance sucks. So you don't like those Defiance ETFs? What is it, Joe? Is it the volume? Is it the price that they are? Is it the way they rebalance? What is it that you don't like about those Defiance ETFs? Thankfully, we have a big selection. I love the direction ones. We bring Ed on here. Ed is so great to us. I've traded those direction ones for a long time, even before we met Ed. They seem to be on top of all of those different ETFs. That's probably my favorite for trading. That and the iShares.
You got a mention of DraftKings by Doty.
Got it. Putting it on screen.
And what would be great is if we could get a recapture of the 200-day SMA. We lost that back in October. Or I'm sorry, at the very end of September. And have not been back above it since. We haven't even tested it. We've come close, but we haven't even touched it yet since that loss. So I think a recapture could set us up for a bit of a run. $30 is a very big level after that. So if we get above 200 EMA, I'd be looking for another move up to $30.
Okay. All right, we'll see if we get that here on DraftKings. This thing is trading sideways. I'd be very curious to see if that makes any run around football.
Dodie, you're looking for 2671, so not too far away. So that's probably, it sounds like you're looking for this as a day trade. I'm looking at a daily chart here, and it may take more than today, but it looks like the next thing that has to happen for continued upside is we need to recapture that 200-day SMA. So that's at 2690.
2690, the spot to look at on DraftKings. Marvell, which we talked about here, this actually took out the pre-market high. This actually looks pretty good here today. Maybe 250 next as your next spot, Marvell.
Let's see.
Lion says, I think today is the calm before the storm, Ryan. Well, that would track considering we have the NVIDIA earnings tomorrow. That's after hours. We also have PCE in the morning, don't we? Let me actually go back.
I think we have PCE and GDP tomorrow morning.
So tomorrow. So there you go. Lion, is that why you're saying you think it's the calm before the storm? Let me actually take a quick peek at something here real fast. I didn't do this on yesterday's show in the morning, and I was kicking myself all day for not doing it. Let's take a look here real fast. If you got something, 13, go ahead. You don't have to wait for me to be slow here.
Well, just was looking at some of the requests for tickers here. Joe Marsh mentioning, asking if anybody was an AVAV. This was a fantastic one, back last year. This has since come back into some support levels. I have 143.72 as a support level that has been providing support this year. But if we continue to hammer this level, then the next level beneath that I see have support is going to be 121.32. So it's not over sold yet. We could still see a breakdown of that 143 level, but that's where the next support has to hold up if we are going to get a turnaround here.
And then really quick, folks, got a couple of things here. Number one, for Wednesday, we're looking for July's durable goods orders, second quarter estimate, Q2 GDP, July's personal income, consumer spending, PCE price index, and then obviously NVIDIA earnings after hours. We also, here's the earnings slate. There was another earnings print Wednesday morning that's big. That's going to be... Which one was that? Oh, no, it wasn't. It was Thursday. Sorry, it was Best Buy on Thursday. I was screwing it up. We also get CrowdStrike and CRM tomorrow night, though. So that might also kind of play into that calm before the storm type deal. And I just had a mind-blown realization. You got called 6 by a viewer earlier. 13 is 6 plus 7, which means now you're also 6'7".
Cool.
Unbelievable how things like that work out. Absolutely fantastic. All right, OFAL on the move here. Jacob taking a look at this. This really needs to get through VWAP here, although if you traded the curl, your sell spot 1 is going to be right at VWAP if we get there.
So Joe Schmo was mentioning CAPR flying high again. You're citing the FDA news, and that was yesterday. And it was during the day, so I don't know if we're getting a continuation off of that or if there's some other news that just hasn't hit the wire yet. But yeah, you're right. This is taken off. If it climbs back up to where it did when we opened yesterday, that could be just over 9. HPE earnings on September 2nd, so that'll be one to watch. With Dell and SMCI. Humps on news of litigation. Which one?
Man, CRML, that's critical metals. This is ripping to the upside, straight up out of the gate. PMI, which is also getting mentioned here, Picard Medical. We talked about this one yesterday. This going today, interestingly enough.
Let's see, was their news? Looks like I don't see any news today, but this is one that could certainly get going as we approach the Trump-Xi meeting. Rare earths with that meeting is going to be a big topic of discussion, I'm sure, because that trade truce expires in November. So this one, along with USAR and maybe even MP, there'll also be others to watch. I just don't know if there's some specific news with critical minerals, because the other ones that I just mentioned aren't having the same kind of move. So there may be some news we just haven't seen yet.
which is energy fuels. This is also trading up towards its resistance area, about 1550. And by the way, kind of a change in tracks here. I'm sorry about that. But AAOI, after that little bit of a morning dip, this is actually looking like it's going to challenge the pre-market high here. Here's what your intraday chart. This would be a break of structure here if we can get above this 114, 115 area. Maybe even fill that gap up to 125. AAOX, the ETF that you're trading for that, Alpha. Okay, good stuff.
A lot of these movers that were on the top of the list experiencing a lot of halts. WVVIP just unhalted. AIXI is halted to the downside. When this one halted, it was trading underneath the VWAP. DFNS also halted to the downside. This one is now in a gap fill, the overnight gap fill. So we may see this one just go all the way back down to 12, like we were talking about earlier.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I wasn't saying anything. I was just rolling
Breathing.
with you.
Okay.
Breathing. Yeah, I was doing that too.
So still keeping an eye on Amex. This thing just whipping back and forth, looking like it's kind of compressing the price action. So whichever direction it chooses from here, maybe the way it goes for a little while. But not seeing a whole lot other stuff that we maybe WVVIP is going to get going here. It's climbing back up to the VWAP.
BMNR, that's still sub 25, but that is testing that trend line here. We'll see.
mRNA is going against his Jay Wilds.
Yeah, mRNA is. Now, here's the thing on mRNA. There's a spot from a few days ago that I think this needs to get over, and that spot is going to be right here. I'm going to call it 160.
Yeah, Retro Chewy finally getting back up to some good levels here. Look at a larger time frame. We are approaching the 200-day SMA. That's at 26.22. I'd expect there to be some pretty tough supply in the 25 handle, because if you look at what happened from the earlier in the year, like from February to beginning of May, a lot of consolidation in there, lots of price action, lots of people still holding shares in there that probably would like to de-risk or leave. So I'm thinking as we get through this 25 handle, there could be some sellers in the way that could keep the price from climbing too quickly.
And I'm sorry, which ticker was that you have?
Chewy.
Chewy.
Mm-hmm.
I have an order showing up today from Chewy.
Nice. Well, that's probably why it's that.
I wish.
We look at Cura. Is that the ticker too? Just KURA?
KURA. That reminds me. Yeah, Cura Oncology.
Okay.
They have news here today, trading up in the pre-market.
They are getting extended on the daily chart.
They had news yesterday about an insider selling, and then a director, president, and CEO buying 100,000 shares at $12.39.
Well, he also bought last week. It looks like too, same amount. See that?
So yeah, multiple insider buys here. Let's take a look at the entire chart here and see. Yeah, no, you're right. That's it. Those two 100K buys spent 1.11 million and 1.24 million. Troy E. Wilson. All right, there he's buying stock here. Cura, this is a good mention.
Yep.
Daniel, good mention on this. How's Zadie doing today? She is great. Didn't you see her earlier? She kept jumping into my lap for pets. She got on stream again.
It looked like this was trying to fill a gap from November 2024, but this is getting extended. So I don't know how successful that's going to be. It's running into some resistance as well. But yeah, there is a big gap in November of 2024 that this is trying to fill now.
And then, Daniel, can you give us an update on any of your current swing trades? The only stock that I was swinging is Velo. Can I close that? I have just a little bit left. That's more of an investment position. I don't really have a lot of swings open right now. I'm kind of waiting. Let the bot day trade the cash position in the meantime.
Yeah, it's probably going to still be tough after NVIDIA earnings. I think that's the big event we're waiting for right now, and then and then we get into some more of the summer slump. So we'll see how things shake out. But we could be approaching the high prior to the midterms. Amex, a little push.
Yeah, here I was going to say, well done, 13. Great minds think alike. Here's what the chart looks like. It does look like Amex is trying to push through the VWAP as we speak here. Well, I'll tell you what, the market here, that was a bit of a head fake there, both the SPY and the Qs too. SPY actually did move through VWAP, but immediately got sold right back through it. This is still choppy here. Be careful on the SPY. Not a whole lot of good stuff on this yet. Here's what the Qs look like. Okay, what just happened there? Here's what the Qs look like intraday.
AOI popped up to 115.08 and it's dropping.
And it couldn't get through it though. AOI, we talked. This to me sure looks like it tried to go through the pre-market high. Yeah, it peeked through it, couldn't close it. Let's get above this 114.5 and get a candle close above that.
I'm just waiting for some of these next moves here in names like BM&R and Fermi. They look like they're setting up to go higher. Fermi above its VWAP, BM&R beneath its VWAP. So if we get a recapture with BM&R, that could be the setup that takes us to 25.
This Fermi chart looks like this wants to try and push higher here. Cam says Qs have super long candles on the 5-minute. It is dangerous chop. Keep your stops wide. I'll tell you what, that tracks for me here, Cam. I know it was risk on earlier, but that changed quickly. My index gate says mixed right now. No trades will be taken under that. For the Q, I do have a bearish trend, and I have lower highs and lower lows, but we don't yet have a break of structure on the Qs. And a break of structure to the downside would probably put me in a put trade here.
See, there was another name I just saw. Rocket Lab. I haven't looked at that one this morning.
RKLB. I'll bring it up on screen for us, 13.
This down at a area of support. Could be some more support coming at 65. Getting pretty close to a death cross here. But that's okay, because I have a much longer term prospect on this. And if this goes underneath my cost, then, which is pretty far away from here. But if it even gets close to that, I'd be interested in picking up more.
Guys, this AAOI move, this went right to the pre-market high that we talked about and was rejected. This is coming back in here. This also chopping a little bit. Someone made money with Marvell, probably Charlie Moon, based on our interview here this morning. He was all over that. This did have a nice little pop out of the gate ahead of its earnings. And then, Jay, let me ask you, you were talking about NVIDIA being at the highs not long ago. It's still there. We talked about NVIDIA's kind of move into its earnings where it's kind of been down 7 days in a row or whatever it was. Does today change your opinion on this at all? Let's just say we do close higher here. It's only up a modest 2.4%, but let's say we close higher here today. Does that change anything for you?
I think might be getting a move up to 9 with Amex. It's trying again. So been finding resistance there, since we rebounded off 680. So hopefully we'll get a move through here. There's a seller in the way at 882. Let's see if we can take that guy. Oh, wow, we just deleted him. There we go. Up to 9. That's AMIX.
Got it on screen here.
Next resistance level looks like, I think we said earlier, this is like every 10 or every dollar. There's like another resistance level. So 10 is next if we hold above 9 here. All
right. And guys, on the Qs here, Here's what we're looking at on the cues. If it breaks this candle here, we're going to have a break of this pre-market structure to the downside. We're already in a bearish trend, and we already have lower highs and lower lows.
So we're getting asked if we could look at RZLV. We have looked at RZLV. This is one that we were noticing was taking off here this morning on that Google news. Did you want levels or something? Because it's. I think I also mentioned that as well. Let's pull this back up. I'll tell you. So we are climbing back over. It was the 200-day SMA, I think, is what I was highlighting. This move over it. So if we can continue to hold this 200-day SMA, which we have not been able to climb back over since we lost it earlier this year, then it looks like 325 could be where you would find some resistance if we continue with this move up. 3 and 325 would be my next upside resistance levels.
Yeah, 3 to me is the one that stands out, but kudos to you on the 325 second upside level there.
Oh, no problem.
Ryan, that week that we were talking about NVIDIA being weak for like 7 days, you went on to say here that was the worst week for NVIDIA since 2022. That's actually a good stat. Let me ask you, Ryan, does that make you feel all right about the earnings print that's coming up? Bad, good, worse, the same? What were you thinking there?
Amex, wow. Amex was just trying to get through 950. There was a seller in the way. They're still finding some resistance, but it's getting pretty close to that next resistance level of 10. And looks like AIXI is chopping around still getting some support from that VWAP. Maybe this moves up here into the 160s again. And looks like Resolve AI is kind of slowed down here. Volume has seemed to have faded. So if we lose VWAP, this could potentially come in some more.
Oh, I love this. I absolutely love this. Register ring for this one. Rick says, I did well on Marvell this morning thanks to your coverage and the discussion. Nice. Great. That's awesome. I don't think you're, and if you're all out, if you just had a short-term trade and you're all out, I don't think that you might be done with Marvell this week. With this having earnings, this might be in play again. Good stuff there, Rick. Really good stuff there today. And by the way, really quick, I'm sorry to do this again, but AAOI, I know we're all kind of watching that here. AAOI, this actually looks like it might be trying to retest that pre-market high up here.
All right, forget AAOI. Look at Amex.
Okay, we'll do 13.
We're knocking on the door of 10. Now, if we get through 10, we got a overnight gap to fill. If you look at the like a 5-minute chart, because we closed at around 1160 yesterday in the after hours, and then we opened down at underneath or about 825. So if we get through 10, we're potentially in gap fill territory. Looks like that resistance is too strong at the moment.
And we said every dollar, right, about the resistance on this one.
Yeah, because if you look at look at 11, I mean that was a support level last night when the price came down. So yeah, that's going to be another resistance area, I would say. And then we fill the gap.
Yeah, and then 12, there was consolidation right around 12 as well.
Oh yeah,
Amazon, Google, Apple, all red. They were holding up the market yesterday. Such chop lately. It has made swing trading extremely difficult, Jay. That's one of the reasons I don't have many swing trade positions.
Okay, waiting for Fermi to see if it can get over and close above 575. Amex is dealing with that $10 area. Looks like WVVIP is not right for the moment trading underneath its 200 EMA. None of these movers that were on the list are doing particularly well. They're just chopping around in pretty much the same area. And Resolve AI down testing its VWAP. The MNR is still trying to get back above its VWAP. is. All right, let's see if this next move here in Amex takes us through 10. Still got some good volume.
Kura is a Melvin pick. Oh my God, that's right. I completely forgot about that. Oh my gosh, he's going to be so stoked. Flower, that is such a good mention there. I totally forgot that he called that.
I'm just keeping an eye on Amex because it keeps trying to push up towards that $10 area, but it's not able to break through it yet. Well, Joe, that's a good question. We do certainly have a U, don't we?
Yes, we do. You, and that is uranium energy fuels. You want AAOY?
Yeah.
Hang on one sec, 13. Let me open my office door.
Daniel, I don't have any stupid levels for Amex yet because we haven't cleared some of these highs from yesterday in the after hours, like 1641. We could examine those later, and they're going to be certainly a whole lot higher than where we're at now. But don't have any just yet. We could examine like 1990 or 20 as a potential dumb level, stupid level, but I would be more focused on some of the price action to my left before we look at some of those ridiculous moving average levels. But don't worry, when we get there, I'll be sure to let you know what they are. Do we talk about Caper? If we talked about Caper, it might have been.
It was very brief. We pulled it up on screen real quickly, but we didn't really dive into it. There wasn't really much to dive into.
But it's up 20% today, and I mean, it's trying to get into a big gap fill territory. Not just from the most recent gap in July, but also from November of last year. All right, looks like Amex coming back down towards VWAP. See if there's some support coming. Thoughts on Cell H, Celsius Holdings. This is having a nice move up, not extended yet. Could be approaching some resistance, I would say around 38 to 39. You have the 200-day and the 500-day SMAs right in that same area. It's in the area of consolidation from earlier this year. So if we do move through all that consolidation, I think that's where your resistance is going to be in that the 38 to 39 area. From those, that's
so CELH.
That's what I would be watching for if we do get that move that takes us up through 35, 36. We look at those moving averages.
Lance wants to know if anyone's playing the Boeing strike issue.
Oh, that's a good mention, because I think that's supposed to happen sometime early next month. I don't remember the exact day. I want to say like the 9th or something, but I did hear about that, and it's concerning. But didn't they also just get a new contract? Let me look here and see if I got that right. I think it was like some kind of F-15 contract.
Yeah, we covered it this morning. That was the F-15 contract that it got. I can actually link that in the chat for anyone that wants that. Give me a sec here. I'll do that.
Which is great, but if you've got nobody to build it, how great can it be?
Where is that? Why can't I find that?
But yeah, that was some good news. So
here it is.
If the strike's averted, then hey, we're probably going to have a rally.
Here's the article that outlines that contract that you were talking about there. That was $131 billion ceiling for the F-15.
And yeah, we're still making the F-15. It's a great airframe.
Yeah.
We just update they have different versions later that more technologically updated. But the airframe's really good. All right, so we're still trying to get some support here with Amex.
hang on a second. Oh, goodness.
This thing is really starting to whip around. I'd love to see a move through 10.
Sorry about that, 13.
Lance, you're right, but I don't know if that's isn't that where most of this is made? I don't know. I'm not familiar with all of their manufacturing hubs. I thought Seattle was like the main one, though.
It is.
Hey.
And do you ever hear the story about how they camouflaged the Boeing plant in Seattle during World War II by building a town on top of it? Look that story up if you ever are interested in something really fascinating.
That's cool.
What an unbelievable job. DKS getting mentioned as an oof. That got hit on earnings. Boy, this thing just went lower from those earnings. Oof, indeed.
Looks like we've got a loss of VWAP on Fermi. Meanwhile, Resolve AI is still holding its VWAP. BM&R broke through its VWAP. Maybe we see 25 here in a moment.
Okay, and this is notable. The Bitcoin stuff here. This is coming up to the. Hang on a sec, 13. Oh my God.
Oh, you're referring to the F-15 being built in Seattle. I guess I'm misunderstanding what you were saying there, Barb.
I'm in big trouble. I'm sorry about that, my man.
You all right?
Yeah, the cat's destroying stuff in here, and it's so hot in my office when I close the door that I just start sweating. I had to open it, and I got more stuff going on. Man, oh man, man, oh man.
Welcome home, cat.
Yeah, she's
make yourself at home.
She's bored. She's getting at the bird cage. It has no bird in it, but she is just crazy when it comes to that. All right.
Daniel's got a question for you.
What's the member exclusive content you have and when they are streamed? What?
I think he's referring to things like happy hour, or any other webinars that you have.
I mean, the happy hour requires you to have Benzinga Pro. That's every day from 3 to 4. But some of the other stuff is not necessarily member required. We advertise a lot of those free webinars here. We throw them up on YouTube.
There you go. Let's go, MX. Give us 10. There's a lot of people right there at 10 waiting to sell too. That and it looks like they're starting to stack up at 980 and a little bit lower as well. It's a trap.
We did, by the way, get that break of structure on the Qs. So that, and actually the bot did not take the puts on that, which I'm not sure why. Here's the Qs. So we did break that pre-market structure to the downside. We did find some pretty quick support down there at 710. We'll see if we go lower than that.
Thank you, Lance. That's good to know. So most of the military manufacturing is in St. Louis.
Let's see. Is there anything else interesting out there? Let's see it.
I mean, there's some that are interesting. I mean, Lucy's still holding above $1. That's one from, was it yesterday or earlier this or last week? Don't remember, but there's some that are out there that are interesting. One of Tim Melvin's plays, Rig, is trading up after sinking in the pre-market. This is one that when he was on last, I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I thought I'd keep an eye on that one.
Okay. All right.
AIXI, no problem. AIXI is trying to recapture those smaller moving averages, the EMAs, 9 and 15. Kind of caught between those two and the VWAP. That's been the case for pretty much most of the morning. And we have Amex still trying to get to 10.
Oh, sorry about that, 13. We're good now for the rest of the show here. 13, you okay?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just.
I don't.
I should stop moving and make you think that I froze.
No, I am having all kinds of technology issues here.
Well, Comcast giving you hell. Pretty soon they'll be watching where you move around your apartment.
No. This was because it's a long story. This one's not Comcast's fault. Long story. We're okay though.
That's a surprise. Something finally not Comcast's fault.
That's true. That is very, very true. All right. No, I'm looking at all of these different big caps. I thought today was going to kind of be a little bit more of a risk on day, but it really hasn't been that at all. S&P futures continuing to drop here, by the way. We also might have another move down in the Qs.
I'm on the same page with Lion. I mean, it could be the calm before the storm. It could be the big breath we take before the exhale. You know, that's the way it feels right now. How much have we even traded on the SPYs this morning? Is it are we up to 9 or 10 million yet? We're at 4. We're not even at 5.
Yeah, so it's really light out there.
We're all just waiting.
It's the Cat 5 line. Cam, I got that joke.
That's a great one.
That is a good one.
That's a great one. But if it was my cat, it'd be Cat 6.
There you go. See, this is how we do. This is how we do.
Yeah, I saw that too there, Retro. It's just waiting for my levels to get hit. Looks like we are getting a drop here in Amex now. Coming back down to VWAP. In search of support. So no 10 yet. Why not Cat 9? Oh, because of 9 lives.
Also, with regarding the options today, don't see a whole lot here. Like Tesla, which has been really good with some of the option flow recently, it seems to be on both sides. Lots of calls, lots of puts. Doesn't really seem like there's any direction here today. NVIDIA, I haven't seen much since the open. I know NVIDIA was at highs earlier up here in 213. This pulled back a little bit. Don't see a lot of flow in there. Nothing like really crazy with the options today.
Looks like Resolve AI is trying to trade up and break the 291 pre-market high. Still have a large seller in the way up in these 290s all the way up to 3. So going to need to see a lot better volume than what we're having right now if we're going to get up through all that. Gem trying to hit some of the regular session highs again.
JEM.
AIXI still just chopping around those, that range we talked about earlier. One from yesterday, CYPH, not having too bad of a morning. It's not up substantially, but it's up.
I don't like a lot of this stuff.
No.
I'll be honest with you. This calm before the storm, maybe more like boring though. I mean, it's just I just don't see a whole lot I feel good with. Okay, here's something. Here I was just lamenting the options. Here's one for you. 1,250 contracts bought here. The 165 call for June of 2027 on SK Hynix. This is an upside call by 165 June of 2027. 12,050 contracts. Traders spent 5.13 million on that trade. That is an unusual options trade.
Even BMNR still having trouble getting to 25. Lucy just hit 120.
Anything new on the scan? There's Lucy, no. I guess.
It's just not looking.
Yeah.
No, hold on a second. I'm going to look at something else. No, not even that's looking good.
Oh, let's see if there's anything else out here that I might be missing.
Yeah, MX down. It came down through the VWAP. It's looking for some support at the 65 EMA and some of the consolidation from earlier. It is true. Now, I don't know if this is going to be done for the day or if it's just the morning. We do see a lot of these return later, so If you still trade throughout the day, keep an eye on some of these names that moved this morning. They could come back later. This looks like RZLV is trying to get through 3, but like I said, the volume needs to be better on that one.
Axie Pop, thank you, Scott. mRNA, that's actually still doing well. Axie still can't break out of this structured area, 162 I have.
Yeah, it just came up to some of the lows from the 940 candle. If this actually closes above the 9 and 15 EMAs, then we'll have a break. I guess to use your terminology, a break of structure there. But we still got 35 seconds left.
All right, SPY is starting to curl up a little bit. So is the NASDAQ. Watch here for the 1020, 1030 curl area. See if we get it. I don't think it's a given, so. Well, and I haven't seen any like biggish headlines either yet today.
Albemarle still struggling to get back above 145. It's leaning on the 50-day SMA for support right now. And we have a Silver Cross coming pretty soon if we do hold that 50-day SMA. It looks like it's trying to turn around here, but I think getting back above 145 is what needs to happen. And then, of course, we have the 200-day SMA up at 155 or near 155. There's some resistance levels, a lot of upside resistance here for Albemarle, but this was, I just thought there was a mention of lithium, and this is also a bromine play.
NPWR mentioned here. This is one that I know you were looking at, 13. This came in about 6.5%.
Net power?
Yep, net power.
Had a nice run
producers
yesterday.
Closing the poll. Make sure you have those votes in. Thank you, producer, for running that.
All right. Oh, so it looks like AIXI might be looking at some potential upside here. It's starting to climb higher. It's above those moving average I mentioned. So if we can continue to hold above those, then we could see the other side of 175. Still a lot of supply to get through, though. As long as the volume can expand, like that last candle's volume was great. That's what we need to see more of.
See if we get the push there. I am starting to notice that some of the tech-related names are starting to get more call buying here. This is just kind of eyeballing it, though. Seems to be pretty broad-based. I guess NVIDIA has both. Bloom Energy calls, Netflix calls, Marvell calls, Meta calls, Tesla calls, NVIDIA calls, SpaceX calls. So... And I think that nope, looks like I'll tell you what, this not the best environment to trade in. The Qs have been kind of flashing a potential curl here. They just cannot seem to get that done. Market just still seems weak here. Yeah. SPY looks like this is going to roll back over to its low of the day.
Lack of volume, really.
Yeah, it's just there's just nobody out here. There's just nobody participating.
But BM&R might finally hit 25. We're just several cents away. One more penny. There it is. BM&R.
All right, and how much we've got? Just a couple of minutes left here. Thank you, folks, for voting in the poll. Here are your poll results. So we asked you, NVIDIA is the most valuable company in the world. Which of the following best describes you? In first place, 45% of you voted that you trade NVIDIA before, but you do not currently own it. 39% of you currently own NVIDIA, and 16% of you never own NVIDIA outside of ETFs and funds. Producer, I love this. Throw the results there on the screen. I love it. Thank you for doing that.
That's a great mention of retro of Oracle. I just pulled this up, and what a spot this is in. Really sandwiched between the 20 and 50-day SMAs, and as is the price. Now, if the price can get back above the 50, then we have a silver cross setup. But depending on how NVIDIA earnings go, may also determine how this goes. And then they have earnings in 2 weeks from now. Big call sweep on QNT. That's Quantinuum. That's the Honeywell's backed quantum company. So we're looking to get back up to the highs from earlier this month, which is interesting, that 70, because that was also a support. It's a support and resistance level. It's actually one of the, I'd say probably the more prominent levels here, because look at the very first day this opened. It found resistance up in the 70 area, and then we broke through later in June, got some support from that area in July, lost it, and now we got resistance again in August.
Ryan, you see the email I sent about better describing the fertilizer conference? I don't think so, Retro. Let me look through that though.
You're good, Rick. It's funny. Okay. BM&R, what are you doing now? We're well into that. That's what we need to do. We needed to get above 25, and now this thing is off.
For BM&R?
Yeah, BM&R is just so it moved over that trend line. Didn't even bother to come and back test it yet for support. It just said, "No, we good," and we're out.
Yes, Retro, I got it here. I hadn't gone through it yet, but I've got this. Thank you. So, Robert, I used to think the same thing that you do. But I mean, like, if you take a look at NVIDIA and you buy like 4 or 5 shares and NVIDIA trades up 6 or 7, whole points, that's still a pretty decent trade. I mean, the thing about some of the bigger price stocks is that you can often get them to move a lot more. It all comes down to percentage and how much it's moving. And I will say that when it comes to some of these smaller stocks, like, yeah, we see some of like these out of the blue, it feels like pops, but it just as fast gives that back. I feel like I'm better able to predict and play some of those bigger names. They're also just in the news flow more often. But I went through the same thing there.
And if any of those pricey names have an ETF that you can trade, that's the way I would approach it. If you're not looking to hold the underlying, just trade the movement. Use those directional ETFs. Those are
I use those too, and like especially for something like SanDisk that's like $1,600. Use some of the ETFs. That can be very helpful. I know, like, the draw though of buying a $2 stock and having it go to 10 and being like, I can upgrade my entire account. Like, I get the draw there, and if you can hit it, great. But
Resolve AI is making its way to 3. Also, BM&R back testing that trend line. So far, the technicals in those two are acting pretty good. Fermi just blasted off.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, so it sounds like maybe some things are starting to kind of go now here. Maybe we're turning around a little bit after a fairly brutal, rough morning.
Possibly. These are just a few names that that I'm in that are doing pretty good. I mean, I'm only in BM&R because of Corey, and this thing is just still climbing. But I believe the whole BM&R and Ethereum angle now. So shout out to Corey for getting me onto that. CYPH new high as well. Cypherpunk.
It's been a recent mover for us.
There has to have been something that came out, some piece of news or something. It's unusual if they're all going at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking at the SPY here just slowly bleed away. The NASDAQ again tried to bounce. That's getting sold into too.
I wonder if the Fed's Collins is talking right now. We have Fed speak going on. I wonder if that has
it does.
With this.
Yeah, I'm thinking it does here. So here's what it is. Fed Collins says inflation's still too high, and she's concerned about the price and stability part of the Fed's mandate. She says sharply reduced immigration and population aging should keep the labor force and labor demand in balance. Concerns about high prices are pervasive among contacts in the New England region, but looking for some evidence in the coming months that inflation is durably returning to 2%. Says the rise in long-term interest rates should work against a re-acceleration in demand. Current policy rate will require continued evidence that inflation is falling and flags less benign scenarios, including rising inflation from the AI build-out and supply shocks. It would be appropriate to raise interest rates soon, absent evidence of sustained disinflation. That's probably it right there, 13.
So November.
Yeah, I think you're right. Right, just get the midterms right out of the way. Bang, do the rate raise. That tracks for me. That makes a lot of sense.
I think you're really putting far too much pressure on your party if you decide you're going to raise rates ahead of the election. I think that's a campaign killer.
Yeah.
So I don't think we see a rate raise until November.
Yeah, Duty says wall of worries. I think that's the case. All right, 13, we're pretty much out of time here. You got any closing words for the group?
Well, some days we do have this choppiness, this back and forth, this low volume to where there's not a whole lot of great setups for trades, but there are just, here and there ones. So congratulations if you did manage to get some trades in. Still got a whole day. Maybe some things improve. Maybe we get some more Fed speak that gets this market going. Who knows? But we'll be back here tomorrow and we'll find some more movers. Hopefully, the market will be a little bit more excited about NVIDIA earnings, and we'll see what we can get out of it. So until then, folks, have a great rest of your day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
All right, 13, really good stuff. Have a great one. We will see you tomorrow, folks. As a reminder, no Anne Marie as she is traveling. We should have her back on Friday, though. No Tim Melvin tomorrow in the morning either, but we're still going to have some fun. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. Have a great one. We'll see you tomorrow.